Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, Sugar Shane Mosley stops by to explain why he thinks Floyd Mayweather will toy with Conor McGregor, plus the latest reaction to the ongoing National Anthem protests in the NFL. And are the Dallas Cowboys still contenders without Zeke? Skip, Shannon, let's debate. Well, let's get it started with Conor and Floyd. We're just 8 days away from the fight. This week, the Nevada State Athletic Commission said both fighters could wear smaller 8-ounce gloves. And last week, Dana White released footage of McGregor sparring with Paulie Malignaggi, and it looked like Conor knocked Paulie down. Floyd watched that footage and gave his opinion on Conor's boxing skills. Let's take a listen.
And my thoughts is, it was real interesting, but, a lot of rabbit punching, illegal, rabbit punching behind the head. A lot of shots was illegal. A lot of grappling, a lot of wrestling, a lot of illegal shots. I mean, that's just my honest opinion. He had Joe Cortez in his training camp, which is a great thing. Even though he had Joe Cortez in his training camp, I still seen him being extremely dirty. But my job is not to worry about the referee. My job is to go out there and fight and let the referee do his job.
Shannon, why is Floyd saying this?
Well, I think the thing is, it's just like a basketball coach, Skip, you're trying to set the tone to let the referee know so he'll play maybe a little closer attention. That sometimes, Conor, when we get to the clinch and we're supposed to break away, he'll grab you by the back of the head and hit you with some rabbit punches. So I just want to put you on notice, Mr. Ref, that this is what's going on. And so I need you to pay a little close attention to it because, he's dirty. And he knows the only chance he has is to muddy the waters or muck it up, because if it's skill versus skill, just pure boxing, the sweet science of boxing,
sweet.
You already know what's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
And so, Skip, what you try and do is that you just try and plant that seed. Skip, in 2000, when I was with the Ravens, everybody talks about the long touchdown run, but it was set up before.
Nobody talks about it. You talk about it. We hear about it every day. Nobody talks about it. Go ahead.
You gonna let me finish?
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes.
But they're talking about the 96-yard touchdown, but it was set up on the play before because Marquez Pope got there early. And I went to the back judge and I told him, I said, he got there early. He heard me tell the back judge.
Not we're early. Marquez Pope.
Marquez Pope. He arrived early and knocked the ball down.
Okay, I got it.
I told the back judge, I said, he got there early. Now, he heard me tell him that. It's 3rd and 18. Now, the last thing he wants to do is get a ticky-tack foul and give us a first down.
Yeah.
So if you'll see on the catch, I don't know if we got DJ.
I knew it. I predicted it.
Skip, you see what he did? I don't know if you saw it. If we can go back one more time, Skip, he's right there in time. But what he does, he pulls his hands back because he doesn't want to get a pass interference call. And the next thing you know, it's still the longest offensive play in postseason.
Wait a second. We're talking about whether Conor McGregor is a dirty fighter or not, and all of a sudden we're showing your one highlight of your career.
No, I'm trying.
How do we get there?
No, I'm trying to tell you what he's trying to do. He wants the official to pay close attention to those cheap shots. You saw him grab Paulie by the back of the head and rabbit punch him about 5 or 6 times, Skip.
You still got that high knee action?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm going to put on. Hey, this is what I'm going to do to Jason Witten, Skip. Watch this. That's called pick him up, putting down.
Really?
What was that, 17 years ago?
I did check on this the other night. The Cowboys timed you. I think they actually went to Savannah State and timed you at 4.8.
No.
4.8?
No.
Really?
No.
How did you make it in the Hall of Fame at 4.8? Just curious about that.
Because everybody else ran as fast as they can. I run as fast as I want to.
I got you. And by the way, who's the safety on that play?
Marquez Pope.
That was Marquez Pope.
Yes.
He took the worst angle on that play. What was wrong with him? You got him off guard.
Because he knew. Because Skip, it was 3rd and 18. We're on the 4-yard line. You get a 5-yard ticky-tack pass interference. Now it's first down. We get 3 more cracks at you. So he pulls his hands back, and now we get a long touchdown. So Florida said, look, you see what he's doing? Rabbit punching. He's in the clinch. He's trying to, this is not wrestling. This is not MMA. This is boxing. And you know what he's going to do. And you know what's going to happen, too.
Yeah.
Pop's going to have him a night suit.
Okay, is it my turn?
It's your turn.
Okay, because I got to call a big timeout here.
Why?
Because I smell some heavy hypocrisy coming from Floyd's direction. I think this is the pot calling the kettle dirty. I think that's what we have here because Victor Ortiz sat right here not too long ago and called Floyd Mayweather Jr. a quote-unquote dirty fighter. because Victor said that Floyd very slyly, when he throws his left hook, will intentionally sort of just graze your jaw so that he can trail with that elbow and catch you across the jaw, bone on bone.
Actually trying to catch you across the brow.
That he hit him up high. That's true. And I think he cut Victor, and Victor readily admits he lost his poison, lost his cool, and lost his temper, and intentionally headbutted Floyd in a clinch sort of over in the corner, which led to him profusely apologizing to Floyd and hugging Floyd, and then going to the referee and saying, "I'm so sorry." And Floyd cold-cocked him, sucker punched him. Sucker punched him while he's apologizing to the referee? That's your lone knockout, quote unquote, since 1999? That's just dirty. That was double dirty.
How does a guy that can't crack an egg knock a guy out?
Because he got a running start and hit him twice with Victor not even looking. And I think Victor was more stunned than hurt by it because he kept his senses. He didn't go completely unconscious. He said, "I felt my legs going out from under me and I couldn't stop." But the point is, I know it's protect or defend yourself at all times in boxing, but how many fighters, seeing that the opponent is trying to apologize to the referee for an intentional headbutt, would just sucker punch that guy? How many would do that? Not that many. Floyd would.
No, me too.
Oh, you would too. Okay, so you guys are together. You're a team. You're going to lead him into the ring. It's perfect.
Skip,
you're a perfect match.
Protect yourself at all times. But Skip, you make it seem like Floyd was throwing the javelin when he hit Victor Ortiz. Oh, he got a running start.
He did.
No, Skip, the man stepped into it. Boom, boom. But he can't crack an egg because remember he told him, "Come on, champ, hit me again."
He let him hit him. What, 3 straight? He caught him the first time with a right, and then he just thought, did he hit me or not? I'm not sure if he hit me. Come on, champ, give me another.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. He can't crack an egg.
And then what happened? Boom, boom. He's like,
Sucker, punch, punch. That's what happened. So back to Conor McGregor. He is not a dirty fighter. He just comes from a sport with far fewer rules than boxing has.
Okay.
Floyd keeps saying the Queensberry rules. Well, yeah, boxing does have rules, but Floyd is going to throw things. I tried to tell Senior this yesterday. I've been trying to explain this to you. Floyd is going to throw things Conor's going to throw things at Floyd that he's never seen before because Conor is completely unconventional. He didn't grow up in the sport of boxing, so it's not that he won't abide by the rules. He'll just, quote unquote, break conventional wisdom rules. He's going to throw stances and approaches and combinations at Floyd he's never seen before, but it's not going to be dirty. And by the way, speaking of little rabbit punches, I see it every boxing match I ever watch. When they get in the clinches, they're just doing this to each other. It's just commonplace.
No.
Floyd does it.
No, Floyd don't do that.
Yes, he does.
Floyd don't do that.
You know he does. And how many quote-unquote wrestling or grappling clinches do we see during a boxing match? Way too many. It's what I don't like about boxing. Because one way to sort of stall the ball, it's like going into a 4 corners, is just to grab the opponent around the head and let's dance for a while. Let's dance, let's get our breath for just a second. Or you could
do like Conor, just take off running around the ring when Nate Diaz was trying to catch him.
Running around the ring?
Yeah, he was running from Nate Diaz.
Stand toe-to-toe in exchange and drop
Not the
Nate
last
Diaz.
round, you didn't see that.
I did see that.
Yeah, you saw him running.
Running?
Like you said, run.
Well, that's all Floyd ever does. So the point here is that if we step back from this, Floyd is up against a force that he's not calling, he's not complaining to the referee. He's just afraid. I believe that he's not trying to sell. He's not trying to sell tickets or pay-per-view buys. He's afraid of what's going to get thrown at him because now all he has is a little snippet. Now I don't know. Did Dana White share the whole tape with Floyd? I'm going to doubt it. The whole 12-round tape?
No.
I don't know that.
Because why would he do that and show Paulie Malignaggi kicking his butt? Because all we saw is 20 seconds.
We got to see Paulie's face when it was over. And we got to hear from Paulie that I found my rhythm in the middle rounds, but he came on late. That's what we heard from Paulie before he got mad about all that.
Well, after you done flew the man 5 hours across country and take him off a plane with no food, no water, and bring him to the gym and start sparring.
Oh, please.
Yeah. And the man had on Air Force Ones. You saw the man. He was
dehydrated. Yeah.
Dude had on some Nike Dunks.
They locked him in a closet and they kept him. They locked him in a closet out in the desert sun, right?
No. Yeah. They brought him straight from the airport, straight to the gym to spar, Skip. You know that wasn't right, Skip.
Yeah. And here's the problem, that Floyd is up against a man who's crazy, but he's smart crazy. High combat IQ, whatever you want to call fist fighting, whatever you want to call it, high IQ. So all of a sudden you're hearing Floyd, who gets scared before he was afraid of Pacquiao.
He was afraid of Pacquiao.
Yes, he was afraid. And he's afraid here because he doesn't know what he's up against, because he just saw a snippet. And so he's trying to, you're right, he's trying to plant seeds in the ref's head.
Yeah.
But by the way, speaking of the referee, I did not like the judges. I told you yesterday, because two of them are Floyd guys. They've done a bunch of Floyd fights.
There's no such thing as no Floyd guys.
It's in the bag if it goes 12
Skip,
rounds.
you don't get to bring your own judges.
Yeah, he did. He's bringing 2 Vegas judges. 2 guys who've done like 10 of his fights.
Skip, the man's fought almost 50 fights.
Yeah, I don't love that. But it's okay, because it's going to be ended before it goes to decision. And the point is, I love the referee, Robert Byrd. He was 30-plus years California Highway Patrol, and he's tough but fair. He doesn't have a big ego. He's not one of those star referees who has to sort of like be the center of attention.
Yes.
And by the way, my cousin Kenny Bayless should have had this bout because he gets all the big ones, but he made the mistake early on when the fight was first made of saying he does not see the point in it. So he disqualified himself. Unfortunately, he's not going to be the referee here. Robert Byrd, who's known as a tough guy who keeps difficult to ref fighters in line, will be all over this one.
That's what I like.
I think it'll be perfectly
That's what I like.
refereed, because I want Floyd not to be allowed to get away with his illegal tactics, such as the trailing elbow across the brow.
There will be no 8th grade prom slow dancing with Conor trying to grab and hug us.
I think it might be the other way around.
Floyd going to put the things on him.
Yeah, the things is going to be coming for Floyd, because here's the point. Conor disclosed it. He just laid it right out on the table right away in the first media session. He said, he even told Senior, he's too little. He's just too little. Remember, he said, little head, little torso, little legs, little legs. He does, he's little.
You making it seem like Conor McGregor is Andre the Giant or the Big Show. He's 5'8", 155 pounds.
Much longer. He'll probably weigh 170 by fight time, and he is coming for Floyd.
But you remember he said he changed his tactics. He's going to be leaner. He says he's not going to go balloon back up like he normally would for an MMA fight.
You buying that?
Don't matter.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. But I also don't buy the fact Floyd said again yesterday, I'm coming straight ahead. No, he's not going to come straight ahead. He's going to go straight backward the whole fight. And guess who's going to be in hot pursuit? Will be Conor McGregor. Here he comes, attacking unconventionally, different stances, Greco-Roman wrestling stances. You can call them whatever you want. And Floyd's going to be like, what? And to boot, the guy's left-handed.
It's okay.
Floyd's had a little trouble with left-handers, not a lot.
That's why he keeps that right high in the shoulder roll. He can protect against that.
So here we come, and he's going to bully Floyd. He's going to attack Floyd in ways Floyd has never been attacked, because you just throw the boxing rules out the window. Not that he's dirty. He's just not conventional. He's not conventional. Nope. He'll just keep coming and coming, and he'll just maul poor little Floyd. That's what's going to happen. You watch.
Floyd's going to clean him right on up. But it won't be a problem. He can wear 180, because there'll be 2 men paramedics to pick his ass up off the floor and Floyd knock him out. So we're not even worried about that. You be as heavy as you want to, Conor McGregor, but your day will come. Your day of reckoning, the moment, the crescendo, the zenith, the denouement, the apex. That's going to happen.
You sound like Don King.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
You do.
Because you know what's going to happen to your ass 10.
Oh, here we go.
I got to do my ancestry again. Because I don't believe I'm 1% hen dog. I think I'm at least 2.
It's called anesthesia. That's what you're going to have to take when this is over. You're going to need your henny hen for anesthesia. To drown your sorrow and your shock.
Skip.
Sometimes you just need...
We're going to get a $300 million payday, go to 50-0, because we already got that copyright. You know, we tried to copyright. We tried to trademark that. 50-0. 50.
See, here's your problem. Conor McGregor knows he cannot be knocked out by Floyd Mayweather Jr. He knows it, because Floyd can't punch, especially at 40. He couldn't punch it at 30.
Skip.
He couldn't.
It's them lightning punches that you don't see. Them. What did Chop Chop Corley say? I like saying his name. DeMarcus Chop Chop. What did he say? He's like a snake. You can't kill him. He just keeps striking.
The sparring partner that Floyd paid to spar with him?
Hold on. Did he play Paulie Malignaggi?
Huh?
You make, oh.
I don't think he ever did pay him. That's the last I heard from Paulie. I didn't even get paid.
What about Zab Super Judah?
But what about him? Remember what he said? Floyd, trash talk. He's the greatest trash talker ever. He gets in your head. He does?
Yeah.
Conor already, he just like took Floyd's psyche right out of his head.
Ooh.
Yep,
Chop,
he's got
chop.
it. Here's Floyd's psyche in the palm of Conor's hand. He does. He's got him.
But here's the thing.
He talked him into 8-ounce gloves. Are you believing it?
The man has fought basically his entire career in 8-ounce gloves, with the exception of fighting Cotto, Mayweather, Canelo, Canelo, De La Hoya, Cotto. Maybe 3 or 4 fights he fought with 10-ounce gloves. Other than that, Skip, he's been fighting in 8-ounce gloves. So he loses no advantage. McGregor gains no advantage because he's used to fighting in 4-ounce gloves. They're foam gloves, not Mexican horsehair, the Reyes, the puncher's glove. So he gets no advantage. But here's the thing.
Well, why were you so afraid? For 2 weeks, you were afraid of 8-ounce gloves? You told me you were.
First of all, Skip, I wasn't going to be in the ring, so I'm not afraid of anything. But I'm going to have my gloves on set, my 16-ounce sparring winning gloves. I'm going to have those on set, let y'all. But anyway, Skip, as I was saying, it's going to go down, and Conor is not used to taking punches from a pure specialist, a guy that all he does is box. And the stance, because, Conor got this old wide base, and he's going to be changing. He's going to be going from southpaw to orthodox, right? I get all that. And while he's doing that, Floyd going pop, 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 pop.
That's a good sound.
Yeah,
Pop
yeah.
gun. It's a pop gun.
Yeah, call it what you want to. Scare you, though.
It is, yep. That's what they sound like. It's mosquito bites.
Like, ooh.
Look, wait, did he hit me? I'm not sure
And
if he
next
hit
thing
me. Maybe he hit me, but I'm not sure.
Then you going to let it hit. Sloppy Joe.
Yeah.
Catch up.
Here's the
My
point.
bloody joy.
I'm going to say this, and you will see this the night of August 26th. Floyd Mayweather has never been in the ring and faced this kind of punching power. I thought Pacquiao would be able to bring that kind of punching power because he had brought it before, but he tore his rotator cuff 3 weeks before the fight. They would not allow him to get a pain-killing injection on the night of the fight, something about paperwork. I don't know what it was. Floyd runs Las Vegas. You got to be careful when you're fighting Floyd on his home turf here. It's his rules, his ring, his judges. There's only one way to win. You got to knock him out.
You're not going to knock him out. And Floyd, and like Pop said, he will be thoroughly whipped when the fight is over. And me and Pop's going to the Forum and Caesars and get us a nice suit too. Nice.
How did you get in on the suit bet?
It was my idea.
You're just hooking onto it?
I told him,
he's
like, yeah, I want a better suit.
Got a suit?
Yeah.
He doesn't need a suit after the one he wore yesterday.
But you gonna need Skip.
3.5 suits I get at Caesars.
When you
It's
come
a lot.
in, when you come
you know
in
what?
here that
Pops
Monday,
is going to have to hit up his son for a little change.
Skip, when you come in here on Monday,
Yep.
after Florida's just run through him, it's over. I say it's going to 9. It's over in 9.
He's going to knock him out?
Born in 54, died in 63. What's that, Joy? Born in 54, died in 63. Round 9 is over for Conor.
Died in 63.
Born in 54, died in 63. How many
Who
years
was
is
born
that?
in 54?
It's 9. That's
Okay.
9 years, right? Round 9.
9 rounds? Is this like an Ali kind of prediction? Okay.
It's going to happen.
And he hasn't knocked out anyone since 1999, but he's going to knock out a
Guess
guy
what?
who takes punches with 4-ounce gloves like they're nothing.
And guess what? In 10 years from now, we're going to say Floyd hadn't knocked anybody out since when? 2017, when he retired.
Okay, you're on the
knocked
record.
out Conor McGregor.
You're on
All right,
record.
we'll be
50-0.
in Vegas
Yeah.
next week, next Thursday and Friday, so come see us outside of T-Mobile Arena. No mercy. Our next guest is a 4-time world champion in 3 different weight classes. He fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. in 2010. Shane Mosley, welcome to Undisputed.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good to have you.
You're looking like you're in fighting shape there.
Yeah, I keep myself in good shape. I like to be nice and trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in good company. That's all these guys talk about. We're just 18 days away from Mayweather McGregor. Do you give Conor any shot to win?
I don't give him a shot. Not even a shot.
I'm shocked.
Not even a shot. It's a totally different sport. It's kind of like the MMA and boxing is like a sprinter running against a long distance runner, and then a long distance runner running against a sprinter in their fields. it's
Okay,
not
so
gonna
how
work.
does it play out strategically? What do you see?
Strategically, I see Mayweather having a great time in there, smiling, laughing while McGregor's trying to hit him and find him. I see McGregor noticing how hard Mayweather hits, thinking that he doesn't hit that hard. Noticing how hard he hits. And when he gets hit by Mayweather, he's gonna be like, wow, this is different from UFC punching.
Really? Even
lot
though
different.
they wear 4-ounce gloves.
It doesn't matter. It does the gloves, and this is a misconception about people with the gloves. The gloves are only meant to protect the fighter's hand. It's not meant
To protect the fighter's jaw?
to protect the fighter's jaw. No, it's not. Back in the day, when fighters were fighting, the bare knuckles, they would hurt their hands, they would break their hands. And they had to find a way to keep the fighters fighting instead of slapping and hitting because their hands are broke. So they put hand wraps on first, and then they start with the gloves next, so they can punch harder and tear skin with leather.
Do I hear you predicting a Floyd knockout?
You know what? I think Floyd, if he wants to, can knock him out at least by the fourth, fifth round.
Oh, so you think he might not want to? He'll just toy with him for more rounds?
I think that he'll give the fans a show,
Okay.
and then he's going to be laughing all the way to the bank, but he's going to give him a show, and then he's going to knock him out. In that field, it was almost like when James Toney fought in the UFC.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Couture.
Randy Couture,
Yeah.
and James elected to try to grab him and try to grapple and all that stuff, try to beat him at his game, at his field, and he got choked out. When the guy came down, James could have easily hit him with the right hand, but he didn't. He wanted to show that he can beat him at his game, but he couldn't. It's the same thing with Conor trying to go into the boxing like that and show Mayweather that he can beat him in his field, which, I seen him, he sparred with Paulie, but I also seen him spar with another friend of mine that I spar with, I use for sparring, Chris Van Heerden. And Chris Van Heerden, it looked pretty easy how Chris was handling him. Very easy.
Shane,
Where did you see that?
Where that's,
Yeah.
I seen the video on tape. I seen the Chris Van Heerden video on tape. He showed me because he was one of my sparring partners.
Oh, okay. Did he have? Has that been public or?
No, we don't want to. No. We don't gonna show that. Cause didn't want nobody by the fight. It didn't want nobody come. No, we gotta make you think you can fight. Cause we gotta get this 300 mil. Cause we gonna
Did
get
you
this.
see Paulie's head snap back?
Probably much.
Well, I mean, with Paulie Malignaggi, he's a commentator now, and and he's not really working out in the gym. Like I look like I'm in better shape than Paulie.
Yeah, you look.
give you that.
Yeah, really.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, if I was sparring Paulie, I'd probably do the same thing. Right now, I'm 45, so that doesn't equate to Floyd.
Paulie looked like he been eating crackers, Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was.
Yeah,
I want to ask you
it
this.
was kinda big.
What is it? Why is there a misconception that Floyd Mayweather Jr. doesn't punch hard?
The misconception is because he's fighting with fighters, real fighters that can take punch. I could take a great shot. The fighters that he's been in the ring with could take a great shot. But
By the way, you gave Floyd a pretty good shot too.
You hit him. That's the flushest he's ever been hit.
I hit him the best he's ever been hit, but that's because he was, I believe he was underestimated my power. And when he got hit, he was like, "Oh, this is real. What they say is real." But anyway, Floyd did take the shot,
Right.
and I punched pretty hard. I had to.
Yeah, you had like 30 knockout. At 135, you had the highest knockout rate of anybody in that weight class.
Yeah, I had all my title defenses were by knockout.
Right.
So I had 8 title defenses all by knockout, and then before I lost to Vernon Forrest, I was 38-0 with 35 knockouts.
Correct.
Right. So that means I had to knock everybody out.
You realize Floyd hasn't had a knockout since 1999. I'm talking about a KO knockout.
Yeah, but Floyd doesn't go after the knockout. Like I said, when I fought Floyd, at that time, his knockout punch his punch was as hard as I believe Canelo's. When I fought Canelo and I fought Floyd almost at the same time.
Yeah.
Both of their power felt the same to me. Now, Canelo hits harder now, because he's bigger and he's young. You know, he's built up his man strength and everything. But back then, Canelo being bigger than Floyd hit about the same. Now, Floyd knocked out Ricky Hatton. He knocked out a few guys. You can't just run in on Floyd and expect that to...
him. Yeah,
he
didn't knock him out. Yeah.
He get technical.
Yeah, but he cracked, and he fell flat on his face, just like Pacquiao cracked him and he fell
We
flat on
had
his
Victor
face.
Ortiz sitting in your same seat, and Victor told us that he accidentally took a straight right from Floyd. How long ago was this? What was that year? 2012?
Yeah.
I think it was 2012.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
took a straight right, and he thought, that wasn't that much. So he said he let him hit him with another straight right and another 4 times, and decided he can't crack an egg. That's from Victor Ortiz, sitting right in your same chair.
Well, Victor Ortiz went down, and he didn't get back up.
He got sucker punched. He was apologizing to the referee.
But even if you get, okay, this is one thing about a fighter. Even if you get a sucker punch, if I see that shot, the only time I seen a shot like that was Manny Pacquiao when he knocked me down. But if I see a shot, you're not knocking me down with that shot.
Shane, give me some, Shane. I've been trying to tell him. It's the punches you don't see that get you a...
Yeah, the punch you don't see is the one that's gonna knock you down.
God.
Now the one that you see,
But he's apologizing to the referee, and Floyd just cold cocks him.
no,
Twice.
no,
Boom,
no,
boom.
no, no, he's not apologizing to the referee. He's apologizing to Floyd.
But he already apologized to Floyd. He tried to hug it out with him.
He hugged it out and he
Because-
apologized, and Floyd went like this, and they both, and then he cracked him.
Victor says Floyd cheap shotted him
He did-
with
well-
a left hook that missed, and then he
I don't
followed
know-
with the elbow across the eye.
I don't know if it was a cheap shot because you have to say that, you know, Victor Ortiz cheap shotted him first with the headbutt. And that's the reason-
No. Again, the way Victor told it was he took the elbow across the eye, the trailing elbow. From
He says
the
when Floyd throws his punch,
Left,
he
the
leads,
left
he catches,
hook.
and then the
Yeah.
elbow comes across the brow to cut you.
But he accused Floyd of a dirty tactic.
What Floyd does is Floyd will throw the left hook and then you put the elbow under your chin so you won't duck down too low, and then he'll put your head down. So he's trying to get room so you don't oversmother
Well, he
him.
caught Victor over the eye, and I think he cut his eye, and Victor admits he lost his poise, his cool, and his temper,
'Cause
and
his corner told him to headbutt him.
intentionally headbutted him over in that corner, and then stepped back and was like, what am I doing? And he tried to hug with Floyd, and then they
But
go
he
to
did
the
a
middle
couple.
of the
He
ring.
did like 2 or 3 times. I mean, I like Victor Ortiz. Victor, he's a great guy.
Yes.
He is.
Victor Ortiz is a great guy. I like him. He messed up, and he should have been expecting something to come back because of what he did. And they stopped the fight, took point away from. Yeah, he said, you know, I'm sorry. He said, I'm sorry to the referee, and then went again to say he overly doing it. And Floyd, if
Floyd
he
just
get you,
cold cocked him.
yeah. I mean,
That's it. That's his only knockout KO since 1998. And that was a sucker punch.
Floyd is okay. I'm just gonna say this for a UFC guy throws his punches from here, so he can kick you. He wants to be able to kick you and take you down. A fighter, that's all we do is we throw our punches the correct way, and we know how to throw it. Very, very hard.
You say shoot the
I saw it.
You see
I
you
saw
shoot the
it.
shit. Yeah.
Look.
It's just different. It's not none of this
Yeah,
slapping
yes,
and all that.
yeah.
It's none of that. It's
You know
just
what?
like it's really putting a turn into it. And I mean, I punch harder than a lot of people, but Floyd does punch hard. Nobody's running in on Floyd and not get knocked out or knocked down or dazed or something. So
Nobody.
Allow me to say, I have nothing but respect for this man. He has high character, and he was a hell of a fighter.
He was.
He could take and he could throw. But you are dealing from a position now of conventional boxing wisdom. And I think Floyd and you at this moment are up against a force that Floyd has never seen before.
I think he's seen all that.
Yeah, Conor McGregor has high combat IQ. He's a shrewd operator with high imagination and extreme punching power I don't think Floyd has ever experienced.
But that's only UFC.
Okay,
that's
I don't
UFC
care.
fight. That's not boxing. It's different.
If you watched him exchange with Victor, with Nate Diaz, my God,
but Nate Diaz
rocked him.
But Nate Diaz can hit it like Floyd can hit. It's just not the same thing. Like they don't punch. Like maybe he can kick and take down and choke you out.
We're not going to do that.
But there's none of that going on. So they don't punch. That's why the MMA guys, all of them try to go to boxing and try to learn how to strike. They try to learn their striking skills. They try to because the fighters know how to punch for real. This is what we do for years. We've been doing this. I've been fighting for 37
I know,
years.
it's your whole life. I got it.
Mayweather's been fighting since he was 6 years old.
It offends you just the prospect of this. Like you just can't even let it go in your head.
No, because I've been in the ring with UFC guys, and I sparred with them, and they felt like I was sparring with somebody off the street. Like that didn't even know how to do it. It was so easy. It was so easy for me. It was ridiculous. And the guy was maybe like 180 or something, 190, and it was so easy to me to hit this guy.
This is a bad man you're talking about here.
I know, but the guy was
This is the best
pretty
striker.
You Skip.
In
longer,
UFC.
he's
He's the best striker in UFC.
He is.
Skip. You remember the movie White Man Can't Jump? When Sidney Dean said it's too easy. That's too doggone easy.
If Floyd is not smiling while he's picking him apart,
Picking him apart.
Yeah.
if he's not smiling, then I'm gonna be hurt.
Will he be smiling through the blood?
Skip.
Okay.
But see, but fighters are not afraid of blood. Fighters aren't afraid of blood or bleeding or getting cut. That's something that he's been cut, he's been dazed, he's been all that, and he's fought.
Floyd hadn't been cut very much.
Floyd's fought the heavy hitter. He fought Canelo. He fought Cotto,
De La Hoya.
Wait a second.
he fought
Canelo
all
was
the,
a baby, and you were getting near the end of the line.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so was Oscar.
So was Oscar.
But I still hit pretty hard, though. I've just had a fight, I think I was 44, 43, and I fought David Bison. And I know that I rocked him, and this is a young guy, and I still punched pretty hard, I still did pretty good for myself, but it's
Floyd
good.
is
It's good.
40 years old, and he's not as big as this man, or as long, or as strong.
He looks
as
as big as up to me right there in that picture right there.
That was when he was wearing the lifts.
He wasn't never in no.
He was too.
No mercy. Malcolm Jenkins raised his fist during the National Anthem before the Eagles game last night, the same way he did last season. But this time, his teammate Chris Long stood next to him with his arm on his shoulder. Long grew up in Charlottesville and went to school at the University of Virginia. Let's take a listen to Long after the game.
It was a hard week for everybody. I think it's not just a hard week for somebody being from Charlottesville. It was a tough week for America. And really, I've heard a lot of people say, you need white athletes to get involved in the anthem protest. I've said before I'll never kneel for an anthem because the flag means something different to everybody in this country. But I support my peers, and if you don't see why you need allies for people that are fighting for equality right now, I don't think you'll ever see it. My thing is this, Malcolm's a leader, and I'm here to show support as a white athlete.
Shannon, you said it would make a difference if white players join the protest. Will more white players join after seeing Chris Long's support last night?
I think so. Sometimes when the wagon is on the top of the hill, all it needs is one push. And maybe Chris Long is that white athlete that got this started, and others will join. Because he said something very interesting, and I don't think we got that in. It says sports is like a brotherhood. He said, I wish the rest of the world could be on a team. I know it sounds kind of cliche-ish, but I really being exposed to others, different cultures, different ways of life, and way to look at different things. For a moment, now, let's give you a backdrop of Chris Long. He's very socially active. He's very socially conscious. He was one of the first players, be it white or black, that said he would not be attending the White House if the Patriots were to go. He said he wouldn't go. He has a foundation called Water Boys where they go in East Africa and African countries and dig for wells and give the villagers fresh well water. So to have a backdrop, he has a very good understanding of his social responsibility as an American, and he wants to be thought of as more than a professional athlete. Skip, for Chris, the cliche or the adage, this was brought to his living room. Well, it really was. He's from Charlottesville. He went to school in Charlottesville, and he had an opportunity to see.
He went to high school and college.
Yes, his dad, who is Howie Long, who works for us here along with us at Fox, and Chris had an opportunity to say, hold on, you know what? Now, we might be fighting for something different, but I see this now. because I saw these Americans come to Charlottesville and were chanting things that I'm not comfortable with, that there's no place for this in our society. In a civilized country, you want us to go back to where we were before?
Yep.
It's not great now, but it was much worse back then. And he says, you know what? For once, man, when I saw that last night, Skip, I was honestly, sincerely touched. Because for a white guy to step outside of his comfort zone and to say, you know what, bruh? We are bruh. Because we talk about as football players, and I'm very fortunate, and I said this before, to play 14 years, and you hear the term, I'm rallying for my brother. Be it something seriously happened to him or something happened to a family member. Maybe there was death in the family. Maybe there was something tragic. But what will athletes say? I'm rallying for my brother. Chris Long put his arms around Malcolm Jenkins as Malcolm Jenkins raised his fist and says, I'm rallying for my brother. If you remember in 9/11, Skip, that they postponed it right after that Sunday. But the following week, a lot of players came out there waving the American flag. All the teams linked arm in arm.
Yep.
Because that was America. Some foreign entity had attacked us. But see what's happening here. Cancer is a disease that attacks its own body. This is America on an American. This is police brutality.
Yep.
The killing of unarmed black men and women at the hands of the police. The police are there to protect and serve. So this is truly a cancer. This is American on American. And Chris Long says, man, hey, what you guys are fighting for, after what I saw, bro, I'm with you. I want to fight. I want to be a part of this. And I'm so glad that Chris Long could do this. But if you would have polled me and asked who would be the first guy, he'd probably been on the short list. He'd probably been number one. He'd probably been number one, because if I follow him on Twitter, and he does not hesitate to engage when people step out of line or say something that he doesn't agree with.
Yep.
He has no problem. He is not just an athlete. And when they say stick to football or stick to sports, no. Not that young man.
Okay.
His mom and dad did a great job of raising him, and he's a quality young man. And I'm glad that he put his arm around Malcolm Jenkins and said, bruh, I'm with you.
Again, of the Patriots who went to the White House, it was 34 went and 34 did not. And
Correct.
he was the first one, as you point out, up front. Nope, I'm not going. And the 34 who went were split 50-50 black-white.
Correct.
But he was a white guy, and he's never made a secret, I'm a white guy, I'm not going to go.
Right.
And in this case, what he said, what we just had the privilege of, again, hearing him say, was powerful.
Yes.
It was insightful. It was passionate. He spoke with real, convincing conviction. But unfortunately, he's not Drew Brees. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Tom Brady. And that would be the next big step. If one of those quarterbacks, Eli, Big Ben, some quarterback would step up and speak out just like that. I'm not as concerned about the deed as I am about the word. I need the words.
Right.
That's why, what he did was well thought out. It took a lot of forethought, because he made it clear, I'm never going to kneel for the anthem. So he had to think through it. How can I do this? How can I show my support? I'll just put my arm around him.
Right.
He can raise his fist, but I'm going to put my arm
Right.
around him. That's beautiful, man.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's a powerful image, but he really backed it up with what he said.
Correct.
And then I only wished when I saw it last night, Chris Long was the second overall pick in the draft and has had a good career, not a great career. Wound up with New England. He'd win a ring last year, but now he's at Philly, and they didn't give him a whole lot of money. $1.5 million guaranteed.
Right.
Kirk Cousins making $44 million over 2 years. It's not like he got a boatload of money.
No.
You could argue he's kind of nearing the end of his career. But I thought about his father, the great Howie Long, and I thought about, it's too bad this wasn't the middle of the 80s maybe, because Howie Long, for our younger viewers who don't remember him as a football player, he was something. Yeah. He's one of your teammates in the Hall of Fame.
He was a hell-raiser, Skip. I played against him for 4 years when he was with the Raiders, and a true story. We played them in '93, the last game of the season, Skip, and I hit him up. For the division. If we won, they were gonna be the wild card. They'd have to come to Denver. They won. We were gonna have to go back to them to Oakland. So we played them. I hit them up for $120, 2 tubs, went back to.
How do you remember
Skip, hold on. Let me tell the story about Howard.
Wait, DJ, do we have a track?
No, we got it. And then I went back out for the wild card game, hit him up for another 13 for $156 on the tub. 13 catches.
How did we get here?
I'm just trying to tell you about his dad.
Okay.
And so we're walking off the field after those back-to-back weeks where I cooked him. Yeah. He tells me, hey, you're a heck of a ball player, but you're not nearly as good as your brother. And I just bust out. I just started, and he told me that, and we're walking off the field.
Is that like the punchline, like there's a dot?
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, I just cooked y'all back-to-back weeks, and you talking about my brother? But,
well, it's true. I mean,
yeah, it was true, but I just thought that was funny. Skip, and this, if I had to guess, if something like this were to happen, I could see his father, because his father was a heck of a player, and one of his best friends, I think, was Greg Townsend, and Greg was another heck of a ball player that played opposite of Howie. Mm-hmm. But Skip, for him to do that, and sure, it would be nice if Tom Brady or some of these other guys, but I'll take Chris Long. I will take somebody, and I don't want it for just for show, because see, this guy is not for show.
It was not for show.
He did it, and sincerely down in his heart, he's willing to.
Even though it literally hit home to him.
Yes.
It was his home.
Yes.
But still.
Yes.
It was powerful, because he made no bones about. A couple times he said, as a white athlete, he wanted it clear.
Right.
I'm going to throw what weight I have behind my and I liked what he said about, I'll never kneel, but I will support my peers fighting for equality, my peers.
Yes.
Okay? Well,
that's it.
Beautiful.
And that's all we were asking. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take that, because I believe, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more today, Skip, is that a lot of people thought Colin Kaepernick was going to be a fad. It was going to be like in the Pet Rock or the Chia Pet. But here we are a year later, and Colin Kaepernick is very much in our lexicon. He's very much still talked about. Mm-hmm. And eventually, there are going to be enough of those white players, those white athletes, and enough of white people are going to get on board that it's going to change policy. It's going to change how the police and law enforcement interact with people of color and minorities in this country. Mm-hmm. And that's all Colin Kaepernick ever hoped for. Now, you can say he wanted social Facebook likes and mentions and Twitter followers.
Okay.
But I believe it was bigger than that. Skip, sometimes you don't know when you have this epiphany or you have this awakening, and you say, you know what? I have a bigger purpose. I have a higher calling than to throw touchdowns or help get a team to the Super Bowl.
I agree.
So whatever moment that was for Colin Kaepernick, it happened. I'm glad that it happened, and I'm glad that he's bringing attention to a serious issue. Mm-hmm. And I do believe it will have, and Colin Kaepernick will be, history will look favorably upon Colin Kaepernick, not for what he did on the football field, but for the changes that he helped bring about in America.
Totally agree. I told you yesterday, sitting right here, I feel like he's already gone down in history, Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's Dr. King, but he had impact.
Yes.
And it's going to be very sad if he sacrificed his career for that impact, but he's having it. And I don't know whether it was for likes or not. I'm just saying he had impact.
Right.
I don't even know how intentional the impact was. I think it started as a little thing, and it became a huge thing because he opened a lot of eyes and ears, I believe, in the white community.
Yes.
I'm just saying this. I have a small sample size on this, but to racial injustice and inequality.
Right.
He did.
Right.
He made everybody think about it, talk about it, disagree with it, or agree with it. Mm-hmm. We talk about Colin Kaepernick every day. Like, don't we talk?
Yeah.
Since we opened on September, we're almost a year on this show.
Yeah.
September 6th. We talked about Colin Kaepernick on September 6th, and rarely has a day passed that we haven't talked about him. He's going down in history, to me, as someone who forced change through protest, which you always talk about is what this country was built on.
Yes. And
as uncomfortable as it's making everybody.
Protest is meant to be uncomfortable, and it's meant to come with consequences. Because if you're not willing to suffer the consequences for the uncomfortableness and the attention that you tried to gain, why are you doing it? Dr. King, you don't think Dr. King knew that he was putting his life at risk? You don't think those men and women that that marched with Dr. King, the freedom fighter, because everybody couldn't do that, Skip. A lot of people wanted to march, But they said, Dr. King, I can't march with you because if somebody spit on me, if somebody pours syrup on me, if somebody does something to me, I'm going to have to lash out, and it's gonna cause irreparable harm to your movement.
Yep.
So a lot of people might have protested in their own personal way.
Yep.
This isn't for everybody. But for Skip, or for him to take that, and like you said, it might be. But you know what I'm starting to see, Skip? I jump on my, and I'm heavily involved in social media. I see, and then people like, I saw a guy last night with a Kaepernick jersey in Jacksonville. They see Blake Bortles, they see Henne, they see Ryan Mallett. They like Colin Kaepernick better than them. I might not like what he did, but he's better than those guys, and they got jobs.
Well, we know that it's not about him being better now. We're way past that. It took a lot of courage for.
By the way, was that a white guy?
No,
that you saw?
wearing the jersey, no.
Okay.
No.
I was hoping it was a white guy. I was thinking maybe the door opened.
But I'm trying to figure out, how did you get a 7 Kaepernick Jacksonville jersey? I guess NFLshop.com, you get whatever you
Still
want.
make it. It took a lot of courage for Chris Long to do that.
No mercy.
The NBA now, Kevin Durant won his first title and was named Finals MVP in June. The Warriors have not been given the customary invitation to the White House yet, but don't expect Durant to be there if they do get invited. When asked if he would go to the White House, Durant said, "No, I won't do that. I don't respect who's in office right now. I don't agree with what he agrees with, so my voice is going to be heard by not doing that. That's just me personally, but if I know my guys well enough, they'll all agree with me." Shannon, what are your thoughts?
I'm not surprised that Kevin Durant said this. Skip, the presidency is an institution. And normally the people that occupy that residency are to be respected. But it's hard to respect the man that occupies that space when he doesn't respect the presidency itself, by what he says, by what he tweets, and his actions. You see, Skip, as an African American, we hold people that do things in our community for the first time or in a long time, we hold them sacred. That's why Venus and Serena, they're sacred to us. The Simone Biles, Simone Manuel, the first African American swimmer to win an individual gold in swimming.
Yep.
She's sacred. Tiger Woods was like that to us until he said, I resent the fact of being labeled African American. And then we had to, okay, well, you go on by yourself, Tiger, but you'll be back sooner or later. You'll be back, but we'll talk about that another day. Skip. President Obama occupied that residency. I remember growing up in the mid-'70s, and my grandfather told me, he said, boy, you can be anything. He said, but you'll never be president because they're not letting a black man in the White House. There's a lot of black men and women my age that heard that very story. So when you are openly and blatantly disrespectful of him, you turn a lot of African Americans off, you turn a lot of people off. Skip, not only did President Trump, he didn't start it, but he continually and perpetuated the birther issue, that President Obama was not African, that he was not born in the States. He kept it going. He wouldn't let it go. There was something that happened in New York called the Central Park Five. There were 5 black young men that was wrongly charged with a rape. Now, he took out a full-page ad, said they should get the death penalty, even though as the evidence came back that they were not guilty and the charges were dropped, he still continued that. So he's turned off a lot of African Americans. And a lot of African Americans look like this is nothing but a photo op. Because trust me, although I didn't go the 3 times I could have gone, they tell you what you can and can't say to the president.
Yep.
They tell you what you can and can't ask the president. So you're not going there to talk policy. You're going there for a photo op. So if you want to be taken advantage, and look, if your goal was as an athlete or whomever get the opportunity to say, I took a picture with the president in the White House, by all means, go for it. But if you think it's going to help your cause, whatever you're fighting for, maybe you're not fighting for anything and it's just, hey, a great opportunity. I went to the White House. But a lot of black Americans realize what we're fighting for and what we're fighting against. And what we're fighting for, he's fighting against. All you have to do, see, Skip, they say act. All you have to do is just listen. If you listen long enough to a person, he'll tell you who he is. President Trump is 70 years old, Skip. He just didn't get like this yesterday. He didn't get like this when he got to office. He's always been like this. And Kevin Durant says, no, I'm not going to be a part of it. He's not. Now, there are going to be some African Americans that say, hey, I'm going with my team. We accomplished this as a team. I want to be a part of this. But you're not going there to be able to talk to President Trump, to say, President Trump, what I thought you said about this was wrong.
Yep.
I think we need help in our communities, and let me tell you, let me offer some advice how I think you can do it. That's not going to happen. So I commend Kevin Durant by saying that, no, I'm not going there. Now, I don't know if I'd have used I don't F with him. I wouldn't have used that harsh a term, but it's hard to respect the man, Skip, that doesn't respect the office that he holds. And the man that preceded him in office, he's been openly and blatantly disrespectful to him.
Yes.
And we hold President Obama, most black Americans, not all, because there's some that's out on him too, but there are a lot of African Americans that hold President Obama to the highest regard because he became something that no one thought he could ever become.
Yep.
And so, with that being said, I'm not surprised that Kevin Durant's not going. I'm not surprised that the language, now I don't know if I would use, I'll probably say I don't mess with him, because I don't, but some of the things that he said, it makes it very, very hard that if you're a minority, especially a person of color, to endorse or co-sign or want to be seen with President Trump.
Okay, to your one point that you made, if an African-American player just wants to go to the White House, no matter who's occupying it, just to say, I went to the White House, I got no problem with that.
No.
I don't think you would either.
No.
But it looks like that the obvious day or date for the Warriors to attend a White House session would be not until February 27th. That would be their off day before a 28th game at Washington
Right.
against the Wizards. So wouldn't that be the obvious time?
Yes.
And no invitation has yet been issued. Maybe it's too early. But again, I'm not as political as you are, but could work itself out because from all I read and hear, President Trump might not be president at that point. It's possible. I'm just throwing that out.
He might not be president, and he might not invite them, Skip, because the one thing we know about him, now you talk about petty, he king petty. We got queen petty, but I'm talking about he king. So he takes slights, and he knows what.
To Kevin's point, he said, if I know my brothers on this team, I think everybody's going to be with me on this. So if President Trump is still in office at that point, would he risk the sort of humiliation of issuing an invitation that was declined?
No, I don't think. I can see him because there's always going to be a sports team that's going to go, be it college or professional. Because hey, I guess people, you can look at it and say, wow, I'm going to take a photo out with the president. But if you are a person and you have some sincere concerns about what's going on in your community, be it black, white, Asian, Hispanic, or whatever, the LBG, whatever, and you want to go and say, I get an opportunity to go, stand next to the president, maybe I can whisper in his ear, Skip, that's not happening. It is a photo op. And for there are a lot of African Americans, when he first, he got elected in January, they were going in and out, he was up there, giving his smile, and everybody was keying. I haven't seen not one black in the last 7 months on camera with him. Now, Dr. Carson, Ben Carson, doesn't count because he's in his cabinet. Omarosa, well, we know. But anyway, I'm talking, Joy, I'm like this. But you haven't seen, he's going to be so good. Why not give him a chance? And he said, what do you have to lose? People of color, what do you have to lose? Besides my dignity? Besides my self-respect? Besides health care? My civil rights? Really nothing. Besides, who need all those things anyway? I'm not surprised that Kevin Durant said this. I would not be surprised if more.
I wouldn't either.
Professional athletes, because it's coming to a point that we're seeing, and I think the tide is changing. Skip, maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Maybe him being in office heightened what a lot of people of color already knew. But him standing from the tallest pulpit and having the loudest microphone, he's able to speak things, and people are like, hold on, did he just say what I thought he said? Did he just say that both sides were at fault in Charlottesville? Is he refusing to condemn those people that did that? So hold on, it's not just my imagination. He's with them. He's not for the betterment. And what President Trump needs to understand, Skip, is that he's president of the United States, not just his base, not just those devout devotees. I saw a monument poll that said 61% of the people said there's nothing that President Trump could do to make them change their mind about him. But there's also 57% that says there's nothing he could do that make them think positive about him. So 53% of the population has their mind made up where they are with President Trump.
I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to just plunge on this because this is my 2 cents from a distance. And again, I'm not as political as you are, so I don't study it. But I told you this in your dressing room before the show. This is my big picture takeaway, that there is one silver lining to the Trump administration. This is just a gut feeling I have, is that the backlash from it and the resulting focus on racial inequality and injustice in this country has helped to even further unite and inspire the black community. It's pulled everyone even more together, right? If there's any silver lining here, and I still believe that all of this backlash has opened the eyes and ears of some white people to at least acknowledge, even if they reject, but to acknowledge and to think about, gee, we do have some racial issues facing this country that we hadn't really thought about. And all of a sudden, Civil War statues are coming down. Why didn't they come down 2 years ago or 8 years ago or what, right?
Because most of them were erected at the turn of the century, long after the Civil War was fought. But Skip.
I got it, but this is all good. It's like everything's going now because it got sparked by Colin Kaepernick, right? And Donald Trump.
But the thing was, it was his comments about what transpired that all of a sudden the whites are starting to see what a lot of blacks have seen for the very longest time.
You're correct about that. I'm with you.
Yeah, well, Charlottesville definitely opened the eyes of a bunch of people. That's a very tough thing to watch and ignore. No mercy. The Cowboys' playoff odds have gotten worse since Ezekiel Elliott's suspension. According to sportsbettingdime.com, the Cowboys now have the 5th best odds to make the playoffs in the NFC behind the Packers, Seahawks, Giants, and Falcons. Last year, Dallas had the best record in the NFC. Skip, what's your reaction?
You know what? You're falling into the same trap everybody else is falling into. Right now, the NFL world is missing the point and missing the boat, as in Super Bowl boat, on my Dallas Cowboys. The blueprint was presented last year by one New England. What did we see from Tom Brady and company last year? What happened? Let me refresh your memory. What happened was that no team was better suited, better prepared to withstand a 4-game loss of the best quarterback in football than the New England Patriots, because they had Jimmy Garoppolo, number 2.
Yes.
But they also had Jacoby Brissett, who's not a bad number 3. So they had a 2 and a 3.
Okay.
And what happened? Garoppolo went right out on opening night, and he beat Arizona at Arizona, right?
Yep.
Then he came back and put up a 21-0 lead on your Dolphins in New England, unfortunately, and he got hurt. But guess who got him home in that game? Jacoby Brissett.
Yep.
And then Brissett started game number 3 against Houston, again at New England, and they won handily. They won 27-0 with Jacoby Brissett.
Yep.
And then it didn't really matter that Jacoby had a kind of a rookie, quote-unquote, outing. The next time we had Rob Ryan on as a linebacker. I guess he was the linebacker coach, or was he the coordinator? He was the coordinator, yeah. Of Rex. I always think of Rex as the coordinator, but whatever. They were sort of joint coordinators. But they did a number on Jacoby in 16-0 Buffalo at New England. But it didn't matter because they went 3-1. And then what happened? Mr. Brady came back with a vengeance to wreak havoc and gain revenge on one Roger Goodell for trying to ruin his career. And he forced Roger Goodell to hand the Patriots the Super Bowl trophy and to shake Tom Brady's hands at the Super Bowl in Houston, right? That's the blueprint for what we're about to see happen, because I'm pretty sure, no matter what you think and I think, or we think, I think Zeke is going to be gone for 6 games. I don't know how you can back off. Once you've dropped that gavel on 6 games, it's domestic violence. You got to stick there. Now, will Jerry sue? Could he get an injunction? I have no idea. But let's just say it's 6 games. What team is better prepared and better suited to overcome the loss of, I think, the best back in football than my Dallas Cowboys? Help me out here. I think I see a quote-unquote Garoppolo and Brissett. I see him behind Zeke. I see a Darren McFadden who's had 2,000-yard rushing years in his career. 2. And then, wait a second, the third string back, Alfred Morris, has had 3 1,000-yard rushing years. And both are pretty fresh right now because they didn't get a whole lot of work last year because Zeke led the league in rushing. So I think my offensive line will be even better. Some people think it'd be worse. Ronald Leary went to Denver, but Lyle Collins moves to right tackle, and all of a sudden you got 4 horsemen, man. You got 4 studs in the offensive line. So I think it's even better. And I keep telling you, Ryan Switzer's going to be a factor. He's a new little toy for Dak Prescott. So you got 2 little slot receivers who are virtually uncoverable. And then what have I been telling you? Thank you, God. The heavens opened. Rico Gathers fell out of heaven into our laps. He's going to be a factor. He is. You say Jason Witten can't run.
You just like saying Rico.
Rico Gathers, Rico Gathers, Rico. I love that name. Rico gathers in another touchdown, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's another weapon for a guy in Dak Prescott who, you don't get this, but he changed the whole culture last year. He was the quarterback for a team that won 11 straight games because the Cowboy mentality went from what can go wrong will go wrong to, hey, whatever's going to go right, we'll make it go right. It was even in the playoff game. It was 28 all and 31 all thanks to Dak Prescott, who threw for 300 yards in his first playoff game.
That's it?
That's it?
Aaron Rodgers had 384.
Oh, God.
Hey,
He's a rookie, a 4th-round pick out of Mississippi
no,
State.
You've never seen anybody say he's mature way beyond his years.
Well, he is. He's now a grizzled veteran. And you watch what he does this year, he's going to be an MVP candidate. I'm not going to predict he's going to win it, but he will be in the mix all the way home because he nearly led the league in QBR last year as a rookie. And this defense is not getting nearly enough credit. Taco Charlton's going to be a force. I'm telling you, he'll have 5 or 6 sacks. He'll always disrupt. He just makes things happen. He always did at Michigan. He always will for this defense. Rod Marinelli is the best coordinator in football. They were the 5th best defense in football in points allowed last year. Do you think they're really going to take a step back? I don't.
I do.
They will not. These kids will all. Watch Jordan Lewis. Watch how he contributes as a zone corner. They stole him in the 3rd round. Just watch.
Skip, I wish it was something I can make you feel to make you feel better. But there's.
I don't need to feel better.
Yeah,
I feel great.
And who am I to argue with Vegas? I've never built a $2 billion business with losers' money. They said they're the 5th best team. There's a reason why they keep erecting $2 billion and $3 billion structures out in Vegas. How are they doing that? With winners' monies? Because they got guys like Skip Bayless that's going to bet on the Cowboys no matter what. And it's like, cha-ching, another slot machine. Cha-ching, another blackjack table.
I don't bet. I just bet my pride on this show.
Oh, yeah, that's what I want.
And I bet my pride.
That's what I want.
Week after week after week after week after week last year, and you had to keep coming in here and sweating.
That's what I like, George. That's what I like.
You had to say, turn up the air conditioner.
And people
sweating.
like, why do you bet
My
Skip?
seat's getting hotter and hotter.
They like,
please turn up the air.
They'd be on social media. They'd be saying, I don't ever see you and Skip. The best don't ever change hands. I said, I just bet the look on his face. You see that right there?
You wheeled in on my birthday a whole case of dude.
And I had to take it back because you talking crazy, talking about Nick Saban and all. I don't know what's wrong with you, Skip. All I'm saying is that the odds makers. Now, you love Vegas. Now, the other day, like 2 weeks ago when the odds makers, Vegas, had the Cowboys, they said the Cowboys are going to win 11 games. They said the Giants are going to win 8.6 games. I don't know how they got 8.6, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. Oh, you was loving them then. Now,
they had it right. They had it right, but the loss of Zeke, all of a sudden they tumbled. They tumbled.
They had, as in past tense, right?
You are so afraid.
What about
You're afraid of 2 things right now, Conor McGregor and Dak Prescott.
But you also said something very interesting. You mentioned the New England Patriots and how they were so equipped.
Blueprint.
You
saw it.
KRS had a blueprint, so did Jay-Z. But that's not, that's those, okay. The Cowboys, does Bill Belichick, a.k.a. GOAT coach, does he coach for the Patriots or the Cowboys?
Rod Marinelli coaches for the Cowboys.
Okay, so the best defensive coordinator of all time is one Bill Belichick. He coaches for the Patriots. Okay, Matt Patricia, he's like a scientist or something. He's like a brilliant. I mean,
he's got that pencil behind.
Yeah, but I'm saying he got a degree in like some kind of like astrophysics or nuclear physics or something. He's like really, really smart. I'm talking about really smart. I'm talking about like Shannon Sharp smart. Not Skip Bayless smart. Shannon Sharp smart. Does he coach for the Patriots or does he coach for the Cowboys?
What'd your researcher tell you?
I ain't got no research. I ain't have no research.
I thought you had a degree in eligibility anyway.
I did. Joey, stop telling. And I graduated with honors.
That's hard.
I graduated magna cum laude.
Yeah, that's what you said.
No, I graduated thank you, laude.
Like a laude, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So which one? Oh, look, Bill Belichick, Matt Patricia, New England Patriots.
Yep.
So are you saying Jason Garrett and Rob Marinelli or Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia? Is that what you said?
No, how did you throw Jason Garrett into that?
Because he's the head coach.
Yeah, but Bill doesn't coach the offense.
Bill coached everything.
He does not coach
Bill
the
Sharp cooked everything.
Tom Brady coaches.
Don't do that,
offense.
Skip.
I'm
Don't do
doing
that,
it.
Skip. So, okay.
Josh McDaniels is the coordinator, and Tom Brady is the real coordinator.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
So when he was away, I saw him. He was in Italy one day, and he was jumping off in the water another day. So how was he coaching when they went 3-1? So how was he coaching from Italy in New England? What about in 2000?
Because he established the system whereby he prepared those kids for what was about to happen. He was around through the whole training camp. Zeke is going to be around through the whole training camp also. So he'll be ready after 6 games. He'll be fresh.
What we know from the Patriots is that they had gone through something like this before. In 2008, when Tom Brady tore his knee in the first game, they went 11-5 without him. So this team was well-equipped. Coach Belichick is the best situational. He's the best coach, but his best attribute or his expertise is in situation football. Situational. What are they going to do here? What are we going to do here? Nobody prepares his team. The mere fact that you actually think that you even mention the Cowboys and the Patriots in the same breath.
Same blueprint.
They not even got the same colors. One's red, the other's blue.
What's going to happen?
One should be
after
America's team.
6 games. What's going to happen? This team is going to reunite behind Ezekiel's return to get even with Roger Goodell for condemning Zeke, and as you said yesterday, tainting his reputation without conclusive proof. It's Brady all over. It's Deflategate all over again.
No, it's not.
You know it's coming. Just wait for the groundswell of after 6 games. I'm being conservative, arch conservative, 3-3, and then they will take off on a Super Bowl roll.
Skip.
You watch.
The difference is the Patriots won Super Bowl 49. They lost in the championship game in order to get back to Super Bowl 50. When was the last time the Cowboys been in the championship game?
I just told you, blueprint.
I mean,
a lot of building blocks were set last year. They put some new cornerstones in place, especially at quarterback. If Tony Romo were still the quarterback, I'd be saying, I don't know, because you knew he wouldn't last long anyway.
Joy was 6 the last time the Cowboys. She's sitting up here with us. She was 6. Talk about the teacher
She's only
sketchy.
like 22 now, right?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Skip, for you to even talk, first of all, when we talk about the Patriots, we should just talk about them. No other team should be mentioned with the Patriots.
Okay.
Now, if you want to talk about some other teams, you do. Now, I'm not talking about, we talk about the Cowboys. We talk about Cowboys over here.
Deal with my premise. Is it not eerily reminiscent of the same blueprint?
No. Skip,
it is.
It's Coach Belichick.
It's Coach Marinelli. Do you think he's chopped liver? I think he's really good at what he does. Really
Chopped
good.
liver, maybe stir fry.
He is not stir fry. You know what? How did he do that with mirrors last year? You kept telling me how bad the defense is. They were 5th in the league in points allowed. Is that not coordinator of the year?
No.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, Skip. The mark of any good or great team, can you get done what you need to get done when you have to? When they needed to stop, when they needed to keep Aaron Rodgers out of field goal range, could they do it? See what makes Tom Brady?
He's the greatest thrower of the football in the history of the world. That's what you told me.
No.
So he made one throw.
I'm saying when
and it took 2 kicks to win the game.
When you look at Tom, when he absolutely had to make a throw, he made a throw. When the Patriots absolutely need to make a stop, they can make a stop. When the Cowboys needed to get a stop on 3rd down, Aaron Rodgers hit the dash, pirouette, did like this here.
They were in prevent defense.
They were prevent. You saw it?
I didn't see nothing.
He was wide open at the boundary.
He wasn't wide open,
He was
Skip.
too. Byron Jones was lost. Didn't even see him.
You say Byron Jones is going to start for him?
He's going to start.
Well,
Hey, he's a player.
Hold on. You just ripped the man talking about he was
They're
lost.
in prevent. Go look at the tape. They got like 4 DBs back at the 20-yard line. just watching it unfold like, oh.
Skip, you can't run through zones. You can't just, because if he runs through the zone, now he leaves that vacancy open. They still had a timeout, Skip.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time Monday morning, 9:30 Eastern. Have a great weekend. Fox Sports, one of one. Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, the latest in the Ezekiel Elliott suspension saga. Plus, Skip and Shannon react to LeBron James criticizing President Trump. And Floyd Mayweather Sr. joins the show to discuss Floyd and Conor fighting in smaller gloves. We've got a packed show, everyone. Skip, Shannon, let's debate. Good morning, guys. Let's get started. Floyd Mayweather Sr. will be here live in studio coming up later in the show.
Conor McGregor gonna get it.
Wait, McGregor is in trouble.
McGregor. Yeah. But first, let's get it to the latest on Ezekiel Elliott. He is expected to have the appeal hearing for his 6-game suspension on August 29th. Elliott's defense is focused on the credibility of his accuser, Tiffany Thompson. Yesterday, Yahoo Sports reported Thompson told NFL investigators that she had discussed with a friend a plan to leverage sex videos with Elliott in an attempt to get money. Yesterday, the NFL released this statement. Over the past few days, we received multiple reports of the NFLPA spreading derogatory information to the media about the victim in the Ezekiel Elliott discipline case. It's a common tactic to attempt to prove the innocence of the accused by discrediting the victim, in this case, Ms. Thompson, when coming forward to report such abuse. Common or not, these tactics are shameful. Efforts to shame and blame victims are often what prevent people from coming forward to report violence and or seek help in the first place. The NFLPA fired back, saying the public statement issued on behalf of every NFL owner is a lie. The NFLPA categorically denies the accusations made in this statement. We know the league office has a history of being exposed for its lack of credibility. This is another example of the NFL's hypocrisy on display and an attempt to create a sideshow to distract from their own failings in dealings with such serious issues. They should be ashamed for stooping to new lows. Shannon, whose side are you on here?
Skip, you know I've been outspoken on against both parties, the NFLPA and the NFL.
You have?
But on this occasion, I side with the NFLPA. Because what we're seeing here, Skip, is that the NFL has very, very selective memory when it comes to leak. Now, Skip, and I'm asking you, and you can answer this if you feel free. Who do you think leaked the testimony that Tom Brady either destroyed or wouldn't turn over his cell phone? Would that be Tom Brady and his representative Don Yee, or would that be the NFL?
I'm pretty sure that was the NFL.
Okay, what about that video footage of the ball boy going into the bathroom, staying for 90 seconds, and then coming out? Would that be Tom Brady leaking that, or would that be the NFL?
Probably the NFL.
Drug suspensions. Let me tell you how drug suspensions work. The NFL gets the information through the testing labs. They tell the NFL, NFL sends it to the NFLPA, who then notifies the player.
Correct.
How does Adam Schefter and these reporters get an opportunity to report such and such has been suspended 4 games, 6 games, or for indefinitely? How do they get that information, Skip? Why would the NFLPA or a player's agent leak damaging information about such said player? Interesting. You hear reporters all the time, my sources in the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, you got sources. So somebody in the NFL is leaking such said information. Now the NFL has a problem with leaks. You never have a problem with leaks if the information that they're leaking isn't true. See, Skip, I'm a believer in truth. Say whatever you want to say about me. I might not like it. If it's true, I got to bite my tongue. I got to grit and bear it. But if it's false, I'm going to defend myself. And they try to go to this antiquated, because this is how in sexual assault cases or domestic, well, they're trying to sully it up. They're trying to discredit the victim. Skip, they didn't say anything about she might have had 10, 15 partners. They didn't say anything about what she might have done, what her occupation might be. All they're pointing to is inconsistencies in her stories in which she told investigators and she told Lisa Friel, who heads up the Commissioner's Council. That's all they pointed out. Nothing else. But because they're pointing out the inconsistencies and with her story, and how could the NFL, with all these inconsistencies, come up with the narrative that this happened? Skip, my sources tell me that on one of the night in question, she got into a fight.
The last night in question.
But the
one in which she called the police.
Yeah, but the NFL said those bruises didn't come from this altercation they had. They had to have come from Zeke. Really? She made it known that her and Zeke were not in an exclusive relationship. Skip, look, NFL, stop with this. First of all, when it comes right down to it, you and I both know this, Skip. The NFL has a credibility and a trust issue with its patrons. They don't believe that the NFL is on the up and up on everything. And they always try to portray themselves as the victims. No, you want what's in the best interest of the National Football League. Whether it's truth or not is inconsequential to you, because you want the appearance to your fan base that we're doing everything we can to combat this issue. Skip, and I believe there are. But sometimes they'll come to a conclusion when the facts don't support that. See, Skip, it's kind of like fishing. You ever been fishing, Skip?
Yes.
Back in the day when I was going fishing, Joy, I didn't have a particular thing I fished for. I fished for whatever bite. Because whatever bit the hook, we were going to take it home, we were going to clean it, cook it, and eat it. See, the NFL cooks by dynamite. They fish by dynamite, Skip. They're not getting anything in specific. Whatever's blown out of the water, that's what we'll take. And that's what they're trying to do with Zeke. They're saying personal conduct. Personal conduct is really vague and it's really all-encompassing. I'm not saying that you did this, but you did probably some of this, some of that, some of this. And so once we cast this wide net, whatever we drag up, we're going to take. The NFL need to be ashamed of themselves, because I just want to know this. How could Adam Schefter get that information about 5 minutes after the NFL handed down their ruling? How could he get that, Skip? They waited until we was off the air.
They did.
Because our Chris Carter said that in the next 24 to 48 hours, and he kind of laid out step by step how the NFL was going to plot their case.
And maybe they didn't want to give us a quick early shot at destroying them in the court of public opinion. Maybe.
So what did they do, Skip? Hey, Adam, we got something for you.
Yep.
Hey, go ahead. I'm trying to figure, just help me figure out, Skip. I'm going to turn it over to you, Skip. Can you tell me, 5 minutes after they hand down their verdict, Adam Schefter is breaking news, strolling across everybody's screen. Ezekiel Elliott is suspended 6 games for personal conduct policy. Boy, the NFL need to stop.
So this has officially gotten vicious on both sides. And before I make my statement, allow me to say, you know how much I love the game that the NFL puts on the field?
Absolutely.
I love it, man. I just about live for it. Love my NBA too, but I love me some NFL. I do not love the men who run the NFL. Right now, especially, the commissioner of the NFL disgusts me, because we haven't even mentioned, because it's not even part of this battle, that the commissioner has now opted not to join the commission that he appointed to interview either Ezekiel or his accuser, and he's not going to participate in the appeals process. Harold Henderson, the guy he always names to go do this, so now the commissioner can say, don't blame me. I don't know. But wait, you're the guy who handed down, slammed the gavel down on 6 games, right?
Without hearing testimony from either Ezekiel Elliott and said accuser.
Not a sentence from either one of them. Really? Okay, so you read the reports, but you had to leap to the 6-game conclusion, right?
Correct.
Okay, so as you say, and I don't need to beat that dead horse or pile on anymore, the NFL wrote the book on leaking stories. So this is shameful that they would even dare to accuse the other side of leaking, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not even shameful. It's just sadly hilarious is what it is. Yeah. The NFL lives for its image, winning in the court of public opinion, so it's all about public perception, so it's often leaked, what I call just propaganda to win in the court of public opinion. And apparently, the all-powerful NFL, the big, bad National Football League, greatest game in the world to me, feels so insecure about its case against Ezekiel Elliott that it felt like it had to issue a statement defending the honor of its star witness against Ezekiel Elliott.
Right.
Now, obviously, as Joy well knows, and we've talked about before on the show, there has been a history in domestic violence cases of attacking and shaming the victim. And it could be operating in this case. And just for the record, let's get it straight again. Let's get it right out in the middle of the table. No matter how questionable her integrity or character, she still could have been battered by Ezekiel Elliott on those 3 days in question before the night in question, which she called the police.
Who the woman is, what her occupation is, should have no bearing on whether or not she was abused or not, or to be believed or not.
And back to your original point, look, we know one thing about this case. Zeke pulled down the other woman's top up on the roof.
Yes.
St. Patrick's Parade Day, right?
Yes.
He pulled it down because we have the video.
Yeah.
Conclusive proof. So if the NFL wants to suspend Ezekiel Elliott for 2 games because he pulled the woman's top down, I am good with that. You will hear no argument from me.
0 from me either.
But if it's 6 games for domestic violence, which will forever taint and stain Ezekiel Elliott's reputation.
That is correct.
You better show me conclusive proof.
Yes.
I still haven't seen it yet. I haven't heard it yet. And the NFL is now operating on the slipperiest of slopes. And it's a good one for the NFL to be on because it's hard to fight it. And that slope is she said, and then he said, and then she said, and he said. And that's pretty much what we have, right?
And the commissioner said, Article 46.
46.
I can do whatever I want.
I am judge, jury, and executioner.
That is correct.
Even though I'm going to appoint this commission to tell me what to, quote unquote, do, but then I'm going to do it.
What they think happened, and then I'll just.
And just again, for the record, given that slippery slope and the accuser's credibility as a star witness, the police departments in Columbus, Ohio, and you can say they're biased because Ohio State's located in Columbus, but there's another police department in Fort Lauderdale, and they investigated and they questioned thoroughly this accuser, and they found her testimony not to be credible, to be wildly inconsistent, contradictory, inaccurate.
Those are the terms they use, Skip.
All right. And she was caught in one lie for sure. That doesn't mean everything was a lie, but she was caught in the biggest lie, which was on that night in question.
Yes.
When she said he had abused her on that night,
right,
in which she called the police, and we know all the rest of the testimony from eyewitnesses where she had screamed at him because he had sort of kicked her out of his birthday bash. I'm going to ruin your career. So we got a lot of he said, we got a lot of she said. We have some witness testimony other than these two.
Yeah.
And I'm still stuck in limbo. I don't know what to believe, but I'm not convinced that he battered her on 3 previous occasions.
Right.
So now we come down to, we have 2 police departments that said no, and we have, according to the Fort Worth Star Telegram report, and I assume it's somewhere in somebody's report, Lisa Friel, former sex case prosecutor in New York City, hired by the commissioner post-Ray Rice debacle to advise him on domestic violence, said, I cannot vouch for or sign off on her credibility as a witness because her testimony is
wishy-washy at best.
Contradictory, misled investigators a couple times.
At worst, she's lying.
Okay, so why would the NFL then need to defend her publicly, which is odd? We haven't even started the appeals process.
Thank you.
Are you a little nervous about your case, about your witness? So you got to put us all on that slippery slope of don't witness shame, don't attack the witness. I mean the victim here. This we should say alleged victim.
Correct.
Don't attack her. It's shameful you would do this. Well, is it? Maybe it's part and parcel of trying to prove Zeke's innocence that you do have to show what her credibility is. I don't know. That's where I'm left.
Skip, how is victim shaming pointing out inconsistencies in her story? As I said, they didn't say she was an exotic dancer. They didn't say she worked as a call girl. They didn't say she had 15, she was a college co-ed and she had all these partners. That's not what they said. They said there are inconsistencies in her story. And the NFL chose to pick what they believe to be true while disregarding the inconsistencies. How is that victim shaming? But hold on. There's also there's a second party here. What about Zeke? Zeke. Isn't he shamed? What's the scarlet letter that he will be, if this goes through, what scarlet letter is he going to be strapped with? A domestic abuser. So doesn't Zeke have the right to defend his name, his honor? I'm not saying Zeke is a saint.
He's not.
But that man has every right to defend his name, to defend his family's name, and pointing out inconsistencies in the story that she told on different occasions. Skip, it was told to me that she told her friend, called her friend. They have text messages between her and her girlfriend. Tell the officer that when we arrived, Zeke pulled me out of the car. Well, that didn't happen, but tell him anyway. Skip!
Okay.
Really?
Help us out, Joy. Weigh in.
The NFL is in really dangerous territory here. When Chris Carter first came on the show and said that they were going to make this announcement about his suspension, we assumed that whatever was going to come out was going to be concrete and clear. So now they're back in the Ray Rice territory, but on the flip side of it. Because if this ends up being a complete botch job and Zeke is cleared of all of this and it turns out that she was lying, you've just set back the clock, however, right back to the beginning.
Yes.
Before Ray Rice.
Before Ray Rice, before you even had this policy.
Right, because the 6 games, everyone's focusing on the amount, the 6 games. That's supposed to be the standard. That's what it's supposed to be. So the amount of games, whether it should be 2 or should be 4, is irrelevant. It's 6 games if it happens. So focusing on the amount of games is silly. This is what the policy is supposed to be.
I agree.
So it's not about 6 games, which is why, to your point, they can't reduce the games.
You can't.
What's the point of having a 6-game policy
you can
anyway?
reduce it to 0 if you say he's
It's 6 or
okay.
it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's 6 or it's nothing.
But if you remember now, Commissioner Goodell handed down Greg Hardy 10 games. Harold Henderson came in and it reduced to 4.
But big difference. Greg Hardy lost the bench trial.
Right.
Because the judge said, you are guilty.
Right.
But in North Carolina, then you get a shot at a jury trial. And the alleged victim, who was then the proven victim in a bench trial, went away.
Yep.
And the authorities told reporters that they were told she had been paid off.
Right.
So now Harold Henderson's in a little bit of a sticky situation here because she gave up the fight so he could say, well, okay, maybe we got to come back to 4 games on this one. This is completely different because we still have dug in over here and dug in over here. He said and she said.
Well, that's why it brings me back to what we were talking about the other day, which is either all of this did happen and she is a sketchy character and we all know about Zeke's credibility issues. But
you know what? I'll call him a sketchy character too.
Sure.
Because he's had all kinds of issues.
And the abuse did happen, but it's just going to be murky because of those issues. B, they've completely botched it, and she's lying, and she tried to frame him, and then we have a disaster of epic proportions on our hands. Or there's just another ball that has to drop, and when it does, it'll clear everything up.
But here's the thing, Skip, in the Greg Hardy case, once he appealed it and she didn't show up, it's almost as if it didn't happen. Yeah. Because it was expunged.
Sure, as far as the law goes. But again, getting back to the NFL doesn't have to have that burden of proof.
I get it.
We all know what happened in the Greg Hardy case, so that's why no one argues that they were too hard on him.
But there was no pictures and there was no proof that lady that Greg Hardy was dating at the time had gotten in a fight the night that she called the cops on Greg Hardy.
There's a lot of, again, sketchy stuff going on with this. It's strange to me that the NFL is not being more transparent. But again, that makes me wonder, maybe there is something that the victim doesn't want to be public that the NFL knows about, and that's why they're digging in on it.
It's also possible the NFL decided to make an example of a star Dallas Cowboy when it comes to domestic violence. We are in charge here. We're on top of this.
Well, I hope that's not the case.
You know what I'm thinking? I think Mr. Kraft leaked that information that he would not let those 2 ball boys talk to the investigation. Mr. Kraft did that, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself, Mr. Kraft. Who leaked that, Skip?
NFL definitely needs to be more transparent here. No mercy. Hey guys, before we move on, I wanted to tell you that the Undisputed podcast is brought to you by Barbasol. The biggest thing to happen to Barbasol since shaving cream is also the only thing to happen to Barbasol since shaving cream. Introducing new Barbasol razors. The brand America trusts for a close, comfortable shave now has premium disposable razors. Barbasol's close shave technology on every razor means you get an advanced pivoting head and ultra-thin open flow blades. The Ultra 6 Plus razor also features a 7th blade specifically designed to refine and style tricky areas like under the nose, sideburns, and beard. Visit Barbasol.com and get a $2 savings coupon and see for yourself why Barbasol razors are the #1 new disposable razors out there. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
No mercy.
Marshawn Lynch and Michael Bennett made headlines after both sat during the national anthems before their games over the weekend. Jason Garrett, John Lynch, and Bennett's coach Pete Carroll were asked about the protest this week. Let's take a listen.
I support the heck out of his concerns and his issues and all that. When it comes to it, I love our country, and I think we should all stand for the opportunities when the flag is represented. But the fact that his heart is in a great place, and he's going to do great work well after the time he's with us. And it's easy for me to support him in his issues. But I think we should all be standing up when we're playing national anthem.
There's no question in my mind. The national anthem is sacred. The flag is sacred, and our team has demonstrated that.
And I think this game brings people together. So I think personally, when I see that, I think that's divisive, and I understand guys see things that they're not happy, and they have that right. And I think we'll always respect people's rights. That doesn't mean I believe that. I believe that this game should actually be celebrated for what it is. I think a tremendous unifier for our country and for what the way things should be.
We're joined by Super Bowl champ Seth Joyner. Seth, welcome back.
How you guys doing?
Yep. Teammate. We got a championship. We got to skip.
Hey, listen, Joy. If you yell at me the way you yelled at Ray Lewis a couple of weeks ago, check my IB. We going to break. Okay.
Am I gonna have to break it up?
Skip, you look like you were scared for the first time on any show. Skip looked like he looked like he needed his little Rottweiler.
Wait, you mean
over
the
there.
first time you were on this show?
No, I'm talking
You
about
me and Ray.
Ray got into it.
With me and Ray.
No.
Scared?
Skip it never scared me.
No, I don't think so. I was scared for Shannon.
Seth, what are your thoughts on what you just heard?
This is so dangerous on so many levels because, if neo-Nazis and white supremacists can get permits to march in the 21st century, you mean to tell me that these gentlemen can't express their constitutional rights as far as the national anthem is concerned? And then you also have to think about those that came up through the 40s, 50s, and 60s and what they sacrificed. Even life was lost for the right to express yourself freely. And what I'm hearing here is we need to control that. And what I believe is that you don't have the right to control that because as a citizen of these United States of America, I have the right to protest the way that I see fit. Now, at the end of the day, some people are going to like it, some people aren't going to like it. But I think we're getting so far out over our skis as far as this issue is concerned because we are missing the message and getting so caught up on the method. And the message is what's important. Last weekend is evident and proof of that. We need to focus in on the message and get away from, the method of how guys are doing it. And whatever your platform is, however it is that you decide that you want to bring attention, eyes, or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, that's your constitutional right to do so.
As I look back there, I see 1, 2, 3 cowards. Jason Garrett, coward. Pete Carroll, coward. John Lynch, big, huge coward. Jason Garrett, let me start with you first. I wrote this down. Jason Garrett says that flag, no, make sure I get it right. That anthem and that flag is sacred. Are you telling me life isn't sacred? You telling me a symbol, the flag, a song, the anthem, is more important to you than life itself. I've always valued life more than cloth. I keep telling you, they hide behind that patriotism, But I'm starting to see you're peeking over prejudice. Jason Garrett, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Pete Carroll did a lot of double talking. I just think that flag, okay. What about those guys in Charlottesville? They was carrying the American flag. They were standing, waving it. What were they shouting? You proud of that? Are you proud of this part of America? Are you proud of that segment of America? Pete Carroll, Jason Garrett, I'm knocking on your door. Black America's knocking on your door. Are you proud of that? John Lynch, you say they have a right. I don't necessarily agree with that. But if you notice, each one of these guys talked about the flag, talked about the anthem, and how football brings people together. They have yet to talk about the police brutality against unarmed black men and women. They refuse to even acknowledge it. Commissioner Goodell was in Arizona talking to season ticket holders. He says we need to understand the other side of the protest. And the black people still like, you heard, Commissioner? But then he said, well, they need to focus on the community, doing good in their community. See, what Commissioner Goodell wants you to do is whistle in the dark. Excuse me, I take that back. He wants you to wink in the dark, Skip. You know what you're doing, but nobody else does. See, what's going on in our community, we need to take it outside. Because, see, you're in position, the policymakers, the economic influencers, you control this. See, the biggest mistake that black Americans made that we thought political office was going to be the end-all be-all for us. That's why we got so upset at President Obama. He's a black man in office, and my plight has not changed. He's in no position to hire, to influence your economic status. He's a policy maker. He can make policy. That don't mean they got to enact it. That's the biggest mistake we made first. And John Lynch, I read the article talking about we had Steve Young and Jerry Rice come in there, and they talked about, how important it was. Status quo is important to all three of those guys. Well, I'm sure glad those guys had nothing to do with me being free in America, because they would have accepted the status quo. Slavery was fine. Hey, y'all might have some freedom, but I'm still need you to pick cotton. I'm still gonna need you to build this building. I'm still gonna need you to build America. But hey, don't protest. See, they want you to protest to make it comfortable. Because see, Skip, if I make you comfortable, you keep going right along with it. I gotta make you uncomfortable. I gotta put you in a position that you hear me. Dr. King said riots are the voice of the unheard. They're not rioting, Skip. We're asking you to hear us. We're asking you to acknowledge that there is a problem in our society. But all you want to talk about that flag. Everybody says that flag means a lot to them. But see, in that third stanza that they took out, when they're talking about the slaves, if you tried to run away, there is no lengths in which we wouldn't go to capture you and bring your black butt back. You proud of that? You know why? Because they're the white men. That flag, the anthem is not about them. Francis Scott Key did not write the anthem with blacks in mind. Well, he was talking about the slaves being recaptured and brought back to do what they were brought here to do to begin with. All three of those guys are cowards. They're hiding behind, the game is to bring people together. You asked me to go fight for my brother on the field. Give up my life for him, so to speak, on the field. Now I got an issue that's affecting my community, and I want you to help me. You're like, nah, you on your own over there, bro. Man, get off my, they make me sick. Literally and figuratively.
So, now you've lost me. I don't get this one. I have sat here day after day after day, and there will be more days when I will defend Colin Kaepernick for what he did. I still think it had dramatic impact on this country.
This is not a cap issue. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's a sit for the anthem, stand for the anthem issue. I can't condemn these guys because I've been doing this for too long. I've known too many football coaches. I started covering Don Shula's Miami Dolphins, and then Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboys, and Jimmy Johnson's Dallas Cowboys, and Bill Walsh's San Francisco 49ers. And I was around Buddy Ryan a little bit too. And all I was ever taught from all of those great coaches was that football, above all other games, is a we game. It's a unity game. Championships are built on team unity. You, more than anybody I know that. So you can't expect these guys to say anything but what they're saying. It doesn't make them racist. Maybe they are racist, but this doesn't condemn them as racist for taking the stance, because they're in the business, and it is a tough business, of winning football games or getting fired. And the only way they know, because they've all been taught in similar ways I was taught, to win football games is to make it a we. That's what they were all saying.
Okay.
Even John Lynch got to the point of, after a while, it gets divisive. Well, if only 3 sit or kneel for the anthem, it gets a little divisive because it's not a we thing. The greatest protest I saw a year ago was game number 1 by the Seattle Seahawks. What did they do? They came out before their home opener, and everybody, all 53 and all the coaching staff, locked arms. Okay? I love that. Again, should they have kneeled, locking arms? You could say that, whatever you want to do. But it was a team-wide protest that everybody agreed, I think, to participate in. That's how you team build. In Colin Kaepernick's case, there were a couple of other teammates who joined him. But John Lynch can look back at what happened last year. Colin was, 1-10 as a starter, and they weren't a very good team. I thought Colin played really well. 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, so it wasn't his fault. But you can look back at the result, and it wasn't a pretty result. So, again, you can't condemn them. They're just doing what they're taught, like, we got to pull this thing together. If they're getting a little bit of pressure from above about sponsors starting to get a little antsy about this, sure.
I want to ask you this.
Okay.
So is the kneeling or the sitting for the anthem protest, is that more or less divisive than what happened in Charlottesville?
Well, how can I compare what happens in the concept of a locker room and a football team to what happened at Charlottesville?
He's saying the kneeling for the anthem is divisive. I'm asking you, which would you deem more divisive? What transpired in Charlottesville?
I can't compare that. That was a tragedy of epic proportions.
So it's more divisive.
Well, divisive in America?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, you say football is the ultimate we game.
Okay, but we're just talking about football here. That's all they care about.
Okay.
They're all tunnel vision.
Okay.
You know it and you know it. You've been around coaches.
Okay.
They live, eat, sleep, and breathe football.
But you gotta learn how to compartmentalize some of these things.
Thank you.
Okay. As a head coach, that is your job to bring your team together. Let's think about how a team interacts on a daily basis. Okay. We're there from 7:30 in the morning to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In that time frame, we're probably together as a team, 5 hours out of the day?
Yeah.
Okay? The rest of the time, everybody disperses and goes their own direction. Okay? So at the end of the day, you want your team together when you go on the field to play, but you have no control about togetherness away from the game. You have
that's
no.
fine.
You have
they're
no,
not saying about you can speak
But
out
you
all
can-
you want to speak out.
but
Pete Carroll's not going to try to muzzle everybody. That team is as outspoken as any team
But
I've
if
ever
you're-
seen in the NFL.
If your team is together on the field, why do you care about anything else? Because you know what? Those guys can take a knee before the game. When that game starts, you think those guys are thinking about taking the knee?
Okay, but what's going to happen as soon as the game's over? Everybody's going to come and ask about the knee. Am I right? It's going to be a big distraction. It's going to carry on into the week, and they don't like it.
See, that's that word again that I hate. I hate that word distraction because the media, coaches, owners, fans, everybody's come up with this word distraction. It ain't nothing but an excuse. It's a scapegoat. You get paid to play football for 3 hours on Sunday. What are you distracted from? What are you distracted from? You prepared during the week and you play the game.
It takes away from team unity. You know it, and I know it.
You know what's the biggest distraction in football? Losing. That's the distraction.
But again, wait, I got to defend Jason Garrett. I'm his harshest critic.
Go ahead.
But was he hired to be a commentator on racial issues?
No.
I mean, what does that mean? He's a racist if he says, "I want my team to skip"?
For him to say the flag and the anthem is sacred, but life isn't. I mean, he basically said the flag and anthem is sacred, but life isn't.
He did not. He's saying football's sacred. His locker room is sacred.
Okay,
you know and I know. You saw Shannon. You saw what he went through.
You said football is the ultimate we game.
Yeah.
With those 80% of those black players that play in the NFL, we got a problem in our community.
Okay, why don't you tell the Seahawks then to stand up in unity and say, we will not play game 1 if Colin Kaepernick is not on this team, but you won't bite on that one.
Skip.
Why won't you bite?
Because
put your money, your deals where your mouth is. Do it.
The same way.
Because I'm all for you. I'd have your back on that
I
one.
will.
Okay.
As soon as these owners come out and denounce what President Trump said, that's what I'll do.
But this is about, let's get Colin Kaepernick a job.
Colin Kaepernick.
What just happened in Seattle? How's he not a Seahawk?
No, see how you shifted the argument again.
No, I didn't.
When these owners denounce what President Trump said, then I'll say, guys, y'all black players in the NFL, y'all need to take a stand because Colin Kaepernick is being whiteballed. So I need you guys to take a stand.
It's part and parcel of the bigger picture then. Take a stand against all of it, all of the above.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll back you 1,000% if you'll do it.
I'll still stand by it.
At the end of the day, these players have the right to voice their opinion and protest the way that they so choose to. Okay, I'm not a big fan of that whole distraction thing. And a lot of people saying, well, when you bring Cap in, this is what's going to happen. No. Listen, there's a remedy. You got a PR department. Have them do their job. You sign Cap. Cap comes in. We're going to address this day one, and we ain't talking about it no more.
That's fine.
If you come to my locker, and you want to have this conversation, the interview is over. I got 15 minutes to give you every single day. If you want to talk football, we can talk football. But we don't need to talk about.
I agree.
So now
I'm
you
with
take
you 1,000%.
So now you take the entire distraction bit of this out of the way, and now what does that leave you? That leaves you right where we started off from the beginning. You know that this guy is being blackballed right now because you can't tell me that there aren't a whole lot of quarterbacks that's on the NFL roster that's so much better than him. I keep watching teams bring in player after player after player at the quarterback position. They can't even hold his job.
He's better than Joe Flacco is.
We gotta leave it there. Seth, thanks for joining us. No mercy. We'll be live in Vegas on August 24th and 25th to get ready for the Mayweather-McGregor super fight. Come watch the show in the audience. We'll be right outside of T-Mobile Arena, Undisputed, live from Vegas next week. And we're joined now by Floyd Mayweather Sr.
So I got to say up front, I lost the suit battle today, but I'm gonna win the debate.
When you bought the, you lost that. You wait a minute. You lost that.
Yeah.
Well, you lost the suit thing today.
Right. Yep.
Gonna lose the fight.
You lost the last time I was here.
I don't remember that.
I know you don't want to remember. And you're gonna lose this also.
Here we go.
Well,
and tell him we're gonna get a new suit on Saturday, on August 26th after we.
From you.
So we're betting a suit on this fight.
Well, yesterday, the Nevada Athletic Commission voted to allow the 8-ounce gloves in the fight.
Yes.
Does the smaller gloves give either fighter an advantage?
I'm gonna tell you like this right here. They say Conor McGregor can punch and Conor McGregor can do all this. Floyd fought nothing but punches. Diego Corrales, Oscar De La Hoya. Canelo. Cotto. And he know more about the name than I do because I'm telling you, all these guys right here can punch. All them guys, every guy I name will knock out Conor McGregor. All of them.
Knock him out, Conor McGregor.
All of them. And guess what?
Guess what?
They all got their ass whooped.
Yep.
So, guess what just happened to your son? He let Conor McGregor get right under his skin, right in his head, and all the way into his pride. And he said, okay, I'll fight you in 8-ounce gloves. And I think this guy said, I'm scared of 8-ounce gloves.
Hey, don't even worry about that. That Floyd been fighting in 8-ounce gloves all his life.
But not at 154.
Man, ain't nobody worried about him. He ain't finna hit nothing anyway.
So are you in that same camp of people who say there's no way that Conor McGregor lands a glove, a single shot on Floyd? Will he touch him?
Look, man, Floyd Mayweather Jr. can take a punch.
I've seen him take a few.
This sucker right here can't take nothing. I'm telling you right now.
He can't take nothing.
Oh, does that mean?
Can't take nothing. Talk to him, Pops.
Are you suggesting your son is going to knock him out?
Hey, that's very possible with him. With him, that's possible.
with him?
It's possible.
Do you think he can punch Conor McGregor?
I wouldn't care if he can punch or not. He ain't finna be. I don't know if he can punch or not. But I can tell you this right here. He ain't gonna be hitting on Floyd Mayweather Jr. Because Floyd Mayweather Jr. ain't gonna allow it.
So this man sat across me for.
And this man right here, I seen this man on the bag.
Yeah.
I seen this man up on the bag yesterday looking at on TV.
What it look like, Pops? Terrible?
Look like some little kids playing.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, man. Oh, man, look at
Kids playing.
He going this way, then come back this way. Then
Telegraphing.
Move his legs this way and this
Telegraphing.
way. Man, look here, man. Guess what? He in a world.
Well, so is it just a mismatch? Is it just going to be he'll just toy with him?
Look, man, you gonna see something you ain't never seen before.
I agree with that.
You done seen Floyd many a time.
Mm-hmm.
All you see, everything you saw was success. And I'm gonna tell you, there ain't gonna be nothing else but that.
I think I'm going to see a lot of duck and run, a lot of shoulder roll, duck and run.
Hey, that's the name of the game.
Is the winner.
That's the name of the game. How you think the man been winning all the time?
Hey, that's what he does.
His daddy taught him.
He runs great. He ducks
Sure
great.
do.
Yep.
And punch in the process.
And
Yes,
there's
yes.
only one way.
You can say all what you want to say, but guess what? You can't win no fight if you ain't got no arms and no legs. So I'm trying to tell you, trying to say Floyd is running.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he's running. That means he ain't fighting because he ain't got no arms to fight with. He ain't hitting nobody, so he ain't scoring.
That's correct. And the judges let him get away with it in Las Vegas.
And guess what?
His town.
Guess what? It ain't here. What Floyd do will work in any town, any place, anywhere. And what you talking about is nonsense.
No, it's not nonsense. He got 2 of the 3 judges are Vegas guys who have done a bunch of his fights.
Hey,
and
look.
you know and I know they're going to protect their turf. Floyd's money to them. He is literally money to that town. He fuels that Vegas economy. They are not going to rule against him. If it gets to 12 rounds decision, you know what's going to happen.
It's still going to be the thing, because guess what?
And plus, it should have boxing judges. They're in a boxing match. Floyd Mayweather is a boxer. He's the A-list, so he should have boxing judges.
It's rigged. It's over. If it goes 12 rounds, which I think it will, if that's only...
Yes, it is. Pops, you see what he did? Now Floyd going to win. He going to talk about his rig. Now, he just told me earlier Conor going to knock him out in 2 rounds.
Well, that's what Conor said. With 8 ounces, he said, I'll knock him out in 2 rounds.
Hey, guess what?
What?
I knock Conor out in 2 rounds.
You?
Yes. Let me tell you something, man.
Once upon a time, you did something.
Look, it ain't there now. Except what I could have did years ago.
Yeah.
He going to do it real soon. Like,
all right.
Real soon.
The 26th.
We'll
We
pick
gotta
this
take
up
a
in
break,
just a
but
second.
we'll have more with Floyd Sr. coming up. We'll be right back.
No mercy.
Before we move into the next topic, I want to bring in Skip and Shannon to tell you about a great offer for our listeners from Saks Underwear Company.
Guys, you may think all underwear is the same, that quality doesn't matter, but it does. Don't put up with a pair that's uncomfortable. You'll end up throwing it out in a few months. Instead, make the switch to the best, Saks underwear. These have it all. Comfortable fabrics with a great supportive design that allows you to move freely no matter what you're doing. They'll put your old pairs to shame. Take it from Shannon, a Pro Football Hall of Famer who's an active guy.
Comfort is very important when you work out. You don't want something too snug. You don't want something too loose. You want something that will absorb the moisture, but you feel comfortable in it. And the more comfortable you are when you work out, I believe the longer you will work out. And that's the most important thing. So I am glad I got an opportunity to try Saks Underwear Company, and they're working great for me.
Outside Magazine just had an article about how Saks has revolutionized underwear the same way Gore-Tex revolutionized jackets. And it's true. Saks has taken something we all need and made it better. Quality, support, and comfort, everything you need. We want you to try Saxx underwear with our special limited time deal. Go to our URL, saxxunderwear.com/undisputed, and you'll get 20% off your first purchase. Pick up a few pairs. That's Saxx with 2 X's, SAXX. Underwear.com/undisputed for 20% off your first purchase.
Thanks, guys. That's saxxunderwear.com/undisputed for 20% off your first purchase. That's Saxx with 2 X's. One more time, that's saxxunderwear.com/undisputed. Now back to the show.
No mercy.
Welcome back. Floyd Mayweather Sr. is still with us. Senior Dana White released this video of Conor sparring with Paulie Malignaggi. What did you think of the video?
I didn't think nothing about the video because that's not even fighting right there. Look at this fight for yourself. Look what they're doing. Let me show. Look at it. Wait a minute. Look, did you see the way his arm is formed? He's gonna get killed.
Did you see Paulie's head snap back from that left hit?
Forget about all that. He's gonna get killed.
He's gonna get killed?
Yep.
You sure your son's not in harm's way here?
Not at all.
You know what? Your
Not
son
at
has
all.
never faced the thunder and the fist that guy has.
Everybody said that about Shane Mosley. Everybody said that about De La Hoya. Everybody said that about
Cotto.
Everybody said
Canelo.
Canelo. Everybody said about everybody. And guess what?
49-0.
He's still here today. And guess what? This man just got beat by some chumps. He got whooped by three chumps.
Chumps? Nate Diaz is a chump? He outweighed him by 40 pounds.
Who?
Nate Diaz, when he
Nate
wrestled.
Diaz fought most of his life at 155.
By fight time, he was 200 pounds.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. And he wrestled. They could wrestle. Is Floyd going to take him down to the ground and pin him? Get him in a chokehold?
No, we ain't playing that kind of game. Now, if you want to pin somebody, then, well, hey, you reach in your pocket and get your money out. Because we sure going to take it.
Yeah. Okay.
So and Paulie had on Air Force Ones, Pop. You saw when he got knocked down, his heels came up. He in sneakers. Paulie Malignaggi boxing in the ring in sneakers. That ain't no boxing.
He's telling you some truth.
You know what? You are dangerously underestimating this man's will and his skill as a boxer, because his claim to fame in UFC is he likes to stand and exchange punches.
Well, guess what? He got the wrong guy in front of him. He got the wrong guy in front of him because guess what? He gonna eat a lot of leather.
Eat a lot of leather. A lot of foam leather.
A minute.
But guess what?
Hey.
It's only 8-ounce leather now. 8 ounces.
What? So what? That's good.
Now Floyd can't hide behind big old 10-ounce pillows.
Guess what?
Pillows.
Ain't nobody bought.
Pillow fighter.
Floyd ain't never fought no pillows.
Yes, he had. 10 ounces.
10 ounces? Man, what's the difference between 10 ounces and 8 ounces? Ain't no difference, man.
It's a huge difference.
No, it's not a huge difference. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Pop, did y'all bring Paulie, the video? I know he didn't look all that spectacular in sparring, but did you guys talk to Paulie about some of the things that you could take advantage of Conor in the ring?
Paulie, I didn't see Paulie. I don't think I seen Paulie. But
Floyd doesn't care about that. He's not doing any homework on this.
Guess what?
Huh?
You know why he ain't doing no homework on it? Because he already know.
He already got the answers? He got the answers to the test already?
Got all the answers. Every answer.
All the answers, Skip. You heard it.
Every answer that needs to be.
So, Senior, lay it on the table. Floyd is going to knock out Conor McGregor. Lay it right there on the middle of the table.
Look at, man, I'm going to tell you like this right here. Because I can't tell you, because of certain things, but certain things I don't blurt out. So I'm just going to tell you like this right here. Only thing I'm going to tell you is I'm not going to tell you that Conor McGregor is going to get knocked out, but I will tell you he going to get his ass whooped.
Not good enough for me, Pop. And then we're going to turn up. I'm going to turn up. We're going to turn up on that hand.
Then we're going to turn it up, baby.
Turn it up!
All the way up.
So you're talking about a 12-round ass whooping, right?
Man, look at
12 rounds?
I'm going to be honest, man. I don't even think it's going to even go 12.
Okay, well, then you just predicted a knockout.
You going to quit?
Wait.
Yeah, you make him quit.
Go make him quit.
So we're going to call it a TKO in what, 6 rounds? 5 rounds? 4 rounds?
Hey,
lay it out there. Come on. Courage of your
Guess
convictions.
what? One thing about me, I don't just spit nothing out.
You're right.
But hey, I'm gonna tell you at the end of this fight, Floyd Mayweather
50-0.
Ain't no diggity, ain't no doubt.
And he gonna owe you a suit.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll bet you a suit on this.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, I'm going to lay it right in the middle of the table. Conor will knock your son out because it's the only way Conor's going to win this fight. Your son is going to underestimate what's about to hit him, both in will and skill. This guy is crazy. He's crazy.
Who?
McGregor. He's going to come at you in ways you can't even imagine.
That's the way Floyd like him.
That's the way he like him, Skip. He like him crazy. Yeah.
Bring him on. That's what he like.
I feel sorry for you guys. I do.
Man, you know something? You know something? I'm gonna tell you about yourself. I'm gonna tell you about yourself right now. We got this. I thought we got this already squared off, and I thought that you knew, and you took motion to what I was telling you last time. But guess what?
No.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna tell you, you did take motion. Cause you know what? Cause you told me, you know what? I don't know what a poor counter is. And you still don't know it today what it is, do you?
I never heard
Thank
the
you,
term.
sir. Yeah. Thank you. See,
So that's
you
it?
still don't know what it is.
Full counter. That's it. That's the
Yeah.
secret to the
You
fight.
gotta leave it there. Thanks
And
for
guess
joining
what?
us, Floyd Sr.
And
9 days until the fight. And remember, all the prelims and the pre-fight
And guess
show will
what?
air live
And guess
on
what?
Fox.
And guess what?
Starting at 6 Eastern.
And guess what?
What?
If he get hit with it, you know what? What I'm gonna do? I ain't gonna even drive my car, man. I'm gonna get up and start running.
No mercy. On Tuesday, LeBron James came out with a strong criticism of President Trump's handling of the situation in Charlottesville, Virginia. The president held a press conference and blames both sides for their involvement in the rally and spoke out against the removal of Confederate statues. LeBron responded with this tweet: "Hate has always existed in America. Yes, we know that, but Donald Trump just made it fashionable again. Statues has nothing to do with us now." Skip, what's your reaction?
I greatly appreciated what LeBron said and what he tweeted. And ultimately, I greatly admired it. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. This is the one area in which LeBron James has been so much greater than Michael Jordan, who mostly avoided using his platform, Michael's platform, to speak out on any political or social or racial issue. As gifted as LeBron James is at playing basketball, and he's obviously extremely gifted at that, I think he's equally gifted in this area.
Yes.
And I hope post-career he pursues speaking out in this area and whatever job he could find or whatever position he could find to use that platform, because he speaks with courage and he speaks with conviction and he speaks with knowledge. And as he said in his remarks that he made publicly, he speaks with command. He knows what he's talking about. And what I appreciate the most is that LeBron never speaks from a position or a mindset of hate. It's always of love. It's always we. It's always, I love this country and I love everyone in it, and we can be so much better. But it's always, we can be so much better. I'm going to read some of his remarks that he made at the annual family reunion charitable event that he does at the amusement park back in Cleveland. He said, I know there's a lot of tragic things happening in Charlottesville. I have this platform, and I'm somebody that has a voice of command. He does. And I continue to quote, and the only way for us to be able to get better as a society and us to get better as people is love. That's the God's truth, man. That's the bottom line to all this. And he goes on to say, it's not about that guy that's the so-called president of the United States. And then he goes on to say it's not about the teacher you don't like or you think doesn't like you, or it's not about people you feel just don't want to give their best energy and effort to you. It's about us. It's about us looking in the mirror. He's talking about kids all the way up to adults. What can we do better to help change? And as idealistic as that sounds, that is it, man. That is the crux of everything that we talk about on this show. And I loved him for saying that. And then he went on to tweet about that hate has always existed in America.
Always.
But President Trump has made it fashionable. I don't know if fashionable is the right word. He just made it newsworthy again. It gave legs to it.
No, Skip. And I said this also. I said what President Trump has done is he's made it okay to be openly and blatantly racist. Because now
but those protesters have always been there. You just didn't pay attention. They've always protested.
They used to have hoods.
Okay, but
it's okay now I can show you my face.
Okay,
I got somebody in the White House that speaks for me.
Well, I think I like showing face more than I like hoods.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So he made it okay to come from behind those cloaks. He's made it okay to come from behind your computer.
But my whole life, these people, the neo-Nazis and the skinheads and the Klan, they have protested frequently. We just didn't pay that much attention to them.
We've never had a president.
Okay.
President Reagan said, I will not accept your endorsement. You do not speak for this country.
Okay, so more media are going to cover these protests because of the man in office.
Yes.
I'll give you that.
Yes.
So again, I don't know if it's fashionable, but it's newsworthy.
Think about what he said. He said there were good people on both sides, and both sides came in. Under his argument, the Nazis and the Allies, they were equally culpable for World War II. That's what he's saying. They're equally culpable. By that logic, let me ask you a question, Skip. When we went to war against the Nazis, did we fight that war alone or did we have allies?
Well, we joined it after they were fighting it.
Exactly.
We weren't there at Dunkirk. They took the losses. The French took the heaviest losses.
Right.
And the British barely survived.
And
without all that, we might be a very different country right now.
It looks like we might be a very different country now from from the looks of things and the way we seem to be heading. Skip, I love it. I admire LeBron James. There's a reason why sponsors put advertisers as their endorsees, because they are so influential. Skip, Muhammad Ali was a great fighter, but I can make a case that Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson, some of the great heavyweights, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, was equally as great. It was because of what Muhammad Ali did outside of the ring. He said, hold on, I can sit back, take my millions, drive my fancy car, live in a big home, says America's great while my people are suffering, and appease who wants me to be appeased. But while my people are suffering, I can't sleep with myself saying that America's great. And America has some great qualities, but America has some flaws also. And me being a citizen, I should have the right to point those out. I should force America to talk about its past and what it's done and the harmfulness that is done to a segment of society. But you won't acknowledge, so we can't move forward. No drug addict can move forward if he does not acknowledge he or she has a problem. America is never going to move forward until she admits that what they did to the black population, that slavery was wrong, that civil rights and Jim Crow was wrong. These statues, Skip, why isn't there a statue in Germany of Adolf Hitler? Why aren't there Nazi swastikas? Oh, the Confederate. Do you understand what the Confederacy was trying to do? They wanted to succeed. And they wanted to say, no, we want to own these. We want people to be property. Just like a house, I own it.
Yeah.
Just like a horse and buggy.
Just for the record, it was also about economics. In the end, it was about money. But go ahead. That was part of it. But if you read the history, I'm a student of that history.
Yeah, the money. Oh, so
a lot of money involved.
But who was making that money? Who was picking that cotton?
Yeah.
Who was building that? Oh, so You don't want to acknowledge that part, that slavery existed. You don't want to acknowledge that on the backs of these black slaves, that the majority of America was built. You don't want to give no credit for that. So what do we hear? Oh, I get it. All we do is just steal and kill each other. That's what we do. That's what y'all place is in society. Really? That's what you want us to think? That's all we're worth? I know the history. I studied history. I went to a historically black institution, and they did me a great service of teaching me what I didn't get in high school, which wasn't much. Skip, this country was founded on protest. We didn't want to be ruled by British anymore. And what did they do, Skip? They came over here, and they fought. They dumped all that tea in the harbor. Why? Because they didn't want taxation without representation. That's a protest. You celebrate something every 4th of July. That's independence. You fought for your freedom. And most white Americans hate black protests. They're not rioting. They're not tearing up anything, Skip. A silent protest.
And by the way, they came here for religious freedom.
Yeah, but
just for the record.
But isn't that a form of protest?
Yep.
And what President Trump has done, he said, Skip, I'm doing away with the political, the PC culture. So whereas before you wouldn't say something to someone because you're like, but now, I'll call you whatever I want to call you. So what? I ain't being PC. I can call you the N. I can call you a monkey. Or I can send you an email with someone eating watermelon. Okay, who cares? The president says it's okay. Because, like he said, back in the day, somebody did something you didn't like, you just take them outside and beat the hell out of them. Skip, I am so glad LeBron James, his voice, he realizes influential. I wish more black athletes would stand up. I wish more athletes in general. But we can't ask the other side to stand up if we're unwilling to stand. And I love what LeBron is saying. And I know, don't get involved in politics. Too late. Athletes and politics have always been hand in hand, Skip. We've seen other athletes stand side by side. All I'm asking now, what I would really like to see, Skip, I would like to see the NFL and the NFLPA. You might not agree on Zeke. You might not agree on revenue sharing or free agency. But come together and issue a statement. We, the NFL and NFLPA and our players and ownership, despise. We do not agree with what our president said. There is no place in America for racial bigotry, the hatred and ideology that happened in Charlottesville. And we stand united as one that hatred and bigotry is unacceptable in America. I would like to see them do that. If you for real, if you say you understand, Commissioner Goodell, you say you understand the other side of the protest, well, now he's talking about something that's very near and dear to you. He said, hey, those people's marching. They didn't say, hey, we want everything to be kumbaya. They wasn't singing kumbaya. They say, this is our land. And Jews, you will not replace us. African Americans, blah, blah, blah. Okay, come on, NFL. Come on, NFLPA. Come together and speak out against what he said.
Okay, so I got to sum this all up.
Sum it up.
My perspective of LeBron. Again, big picture, I have always often called him on live TV, the best role model in sports. Just for the record, of late, I haven't loved the language he's used in public because it seems like a shift for me. I don't quite get it, but he's been under a lot of strain inside that organization, obviously.
Correct.
And occasionally I do think he can act childish, but that's in a basketball context.
Right.
In the real life context, he's the biggest star in sports. Real life, speaking out.
Well, they say the true measure of a man is how he treats people who have less than him. And LeBron's always been just the absolute best with that. He's the perfect example of how a superstar should conduct himself, in my opinion.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Join us again same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports, one of one.